Sound manager. Good morning, very esteemed citizens of Nigeria, heads of civil society organizations, very distinguished critical key stakeholders in the Nigerian project, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We're about to get this program underway. We're about 15 minutes behind schedule, but we're not unaware of the fact that the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is embarking on a tour and also inaugurating projects completed by the FCT Minister in Abuja. This has also caused a whole lot of traffic jam, and quite a good number of the persons you are expecting, I'm sure, are caught up in a traffic jam. So we would like that you tarry with us a while, and also ensure that if you have friends or colleagues or associates that are meant to be part of this program with you and are not yet here, you may just do us the honor of putting a call across to them, or better still, send an SMS or a chat on WhatsApp, whichever platform suits you most, to inform them that the program is about to commence. For those of you, especially those of our brothers and sisters from the 6 geopolitical zones, would like to appreciate your presence. Would like to also appreciate the presence of executive directors and heads of civil society organizations that have found time to join us for the Citizens Roundtable, organized by the Office of the number 4 Citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Right Honorable Speaker, Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, GCON. You'll all agree with me that he's a man of very many firsts. Since he assumed the exalted office of the Speaker, he has organized programs that have direct impact on the Nigerian citizens many times, much more than I can count. And so today is one of those days. The Open Week is an annual event. We're told that we have one in the offing in the coming month. So we'd like to appreciate you, but just before we get started in earnest, we'd like to plead with all and sundry to please do us the honor of putting your phones in a silent mode, such that we'd have a hitch-free and a seamless event. A lot of times, if you're sitting very close to the public address systems and your phone rings, it interferes with our communications, and which is why we are pleading with you to please be reminded of the need to put your phones in silent or in a silent mode. But please, whilst doing that, remember that you have them very close to you. Thank you very much. For those of us that might get pressed and would like to use the convenience, we have our conveniences in 2 different parts of this hall. There's one right through that door as you come out on the right wing, and then we have one ahead of us through the reception. We have for both male and female. I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for honoring us with your esteemed presence at this very important roundtable. Thank you, and thank you very much. We can make do with some light music, please. Thank you. All right, please, can you put out the music? Thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, announcing the arrival of the convener of this program, His Excellency, the Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, GCON, Ian Zazel, Speaker, House of Representatives, ably represented at this event by the Majority Leader of the House of Representatives, the Right Honorable Professor Julius Ihonwere, OON, and of course, former presiding officers coming with them, as well as ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Can we please be upstanding to receive them, please? And I think at this juncture to be ripe and right to say that we get this program started in earnest with the national anthem. May we please have the national anthem. Your Excellencies, the national anthem.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. No tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve a sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace all battle honored, and this becomes us day. To hand unto our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. And as you take your seats, can we please put our hands together for the Federal Republic of Nigeria? That applause cannot be for our dear nation. We are already celebrating 26 years of uninterrupted democratic rule, and so it calls for a huge celebration. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us this morning. The distinguished convener of this Roundtable Citizens Engagement event, His Excellency the Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, GCON, Ian Zazel, Speaker of the House of Representatives, 10th National Assembly of Nigeria, ably represented at this event by the Majority Leader of the House of Representatives, the Right Honorable Professor Julius Ihonwere, OON. Your Excellencies, former presiding officers of the National Assembly, namely Her Excellency Right Honorable Patricia Lubomiete, Your Excellency the Right Honorable Aminu Bello Masari, CFR, who was the immediate past governor of Katsina State and chairs the governing council of TED Fund. The Minority Leader of the House of Representatives, Honorable Kingsley Chinda, other principal officers present, Honorable Fred Dagbedi, leader South Caucus of the House of Representatives. Honorable members of the House present at this event. Honorable Ministers for Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole. Honorable Minister for Livestock, Alhaji Idi Mukhtar Maiha. Honorable Minister of State Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Honorable Dr. Tanko Yusuf Sunono. Your Excellency, Ambassador Jerry Ugokwe, our hosts at this very beautiful edifice, the Executive Secretary, National Assembly Library Trust Fund, a former member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Henry Nwauba. Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps and your spouses, the President, Christian Association of Nigeria, His Eminence Archbishop Daniel Oko, ably represented here by the Director, Legal Services of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Barrister Comfort Otera Chiboy, representatives of Ford Foundation and Global Rights, Dr. Chidi Aniagolo, African Director of Ford Foundation, and the Executive Director, Global Rights, Ms. Abiodun Bayewu. The National President, Nigerian Union of Journalists, Al-Hassan Yahya Abdullahi, leading members of the fourth estate of the realm to these distinguished gathering. Distinguished citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, representing the various states and from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, distinguished invited guests, critical stakeholders, members of the press. Let me, on behalf of the Office of the Number 4 Citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency the Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, GSCON, welcome one and all to these Roundtable Citizens Engagement, along with civil society organizations and members of the public. This Roundtable is funded by Ford Foundation through Global Rights, a civil society organization based here in Abuja, Nigeria. The Ford Foundation has extended this support in recognition of the unprecedented and unparalleled achievements of the House of Representatives under the leadership of the Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, GCON. This engagement, therefore, is aimed at providing a unique platform for citizens to interact directly with the Honorable Speaker, ask questions, and also receive clarifications on the activities, policies, and performance of the 10th House of Representatives. This roundtable serves as a prelude to the House of Representatives Open Week, which is an annual event, and I am glad to announce and invite one and all, on behalf of the convener, the Speaker, Abbas Tajuddin, to this year's Open Week, which I'm told very reliably is scheduled to hold ceteris paribus from the 8th to the 10th of July, 2025. And during the Open Week, citizens and constituents across Nigeria are always given the opportunity to visit the National Assembly and to also engage with their representatives directly and in person. Since assuming the exalted office of a Speaker, the Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin has led with very strong commitment to transparency, accountability, and public engagements. The 10th House of Representatives has bridged the gap between lawmakers and the citizens, reinforcing the public's understanding and connection with their representatives. Today's interactive session is especially significant in many ways, as it coincides with the commemoration of the 26 years of Nigeria's return to democratic rule and 2 years of the renewed hope administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, as well as the 2 years of two remarkable years of the 10th House of Representatives under the able leadership of His Excellency, the Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, GCON. I'd like to pause at this point to call for a very resounding applause for the Speaker of the House of Representatives as the leader of the House. Let me, at this point, I will invite you, sir, just shortly, sir. Let me, at this juncture, then say that the Speaker is a man who has proven beyond reasonable doubt that he is outstanding, he is exemplary, and he is a man of distinction. Welcome to the House of Representatives Speaker's Office Roundtable 2025. Please, a round of applause for the 10th House of Representatives under the leadership of the Speaker. Let me, at this point, also recognize the Chief of Staff to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Professor Jake Dan-Azumi. Please, a warm round of applause for him as well. At this juncture, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, resting on the existing protocol, I'd like to invite my colleague, my sister, my friend, who is meant to moderate this particular session, and she is a barrister at law, Chimdi Neliako. She's a special advisor, interparliamentary affairs and public relations to the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Barrister Chimdi Neliako, please. A round of applause for her. Thank you very much. She'll be coming up at some point in time. But let me at this juncture then invite to most formally welcome all of us to this event, the minority leader of the House of Representatives. Please, let's join me in welcoming Right Honorable Kingsley Chinda for the welcome and opening remarks. We can do better with that round of applause.
Very respected and distinguished stakeholders, Mr. Speaker, very ably represented by the leader of the 10th Assembly, honorable members of House of Reps, and indeed the Parliament, Your Excellencies, our leaders, presiding officers of previous assemblies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Well, clearly we are, without putting a formal motion, amongst us we moved a motion and it was adopted that we amend the program slightly. So I will take the opening remarks, not exactly as you have seen in the program, but it's for a free flow. So I will take the opening remarks for my brother, the leader of the House, who is seated here. This is with his leave. It is with great pleasure and honor that I welcome you to the People's House for this very important Citizens Roundtable with the leadership of your House. This event, bringing together the leadership of the House with you, the citizens, underscores our resolve to continually engage with the people we are privileged to serve. This gathering also serves as a significant marker, coinciding with the midterm of the 10th House of Representatives, allowing us to reflect on our progress and affirm our dedication to the priorities of the people and the nation. We are eager to hear your perspectives and engage in a productive dialogue. At the inauguration on June 13, 2023, we were quick to recognize that our legitimacy and effectiveness were inextricably linked to the trust and confidence placed in us by the citizenry. Therefore, we considered it our solemn duty to create avenues for open dialogue, constructive criticism, and collaborative problem solving. Since then, we have gone ahead to include citizens' engagement as a key component of our 8-point legislative agenda. We have had a series of engagements on different pieces of legislation and issues of national interest, including appropriation, state police, national security, state of the economy, political inclusion, and representation of women, amongst others. We recognize that the voices of the citizens are of utmost importance, and their perspectives are critical in shaping the legislations, policies, and decisions that affect their lives. Our commitment to a thriving democracy is rooted in the active engagement of every citizen. We believe that open dialogue such as this, constructive criticism, and the free exchange of ideas are essential in guiding the leadership of our nation in navigating the ship of our state towards progress and prosperity. This roundtable is therefore a demonstration of our dedication to building a strong and dynamic relationship between the House and the people we represent. Today's gathering provides a unique opportunity for us to engage in a frank and open discussion on the pressing issues facing our nation. We're here to listen to you, we're here to learn from you, and we're here to act on your preferred policy options. We want to hear your concerns, we want to hear your suggestions, and your aspirations for the future of Nigeria. Your input will directly inform our legislative actions and guide them. You would recall that on December 20th, 2024, while hosting the maiden edition of this State of the House, we promised that while we have been elected to speak for the people, we need to regularly speak with the people in order to amplify their voice. This roundtable serves as a tangible manifestation of that promise, designed to foster constructive dialogue and collaboration. We encourage each participant to freely express their viewpoints, pose insightful questions, and propose viable solutions. Our commitment is to listen attentively and respond thoughtfully to the contributions made. The House extends its sincere appreciation to Ford Foundation, whose generous support facilitated this roundtable through Global Rights. We look forward to your continued partnership and support in our shared commitment to deepen democratic ideals in our dear country. We're confident that this Citizens Roundtable will be a resounding success. We look forward to a productive and insightful discussion. We are eager to hear your perspectives and to collaborate with you as partners in the Nigerian project. We want to thank you so much for coming, and may God bless our country, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we can do better with that round of applause. Thank you very, very much indeed. Whilst he was on the podium delivering the opening remarks and welcome, we have the honor of having with us in this hall the esteemed presence of the Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole. Please let's welcome her with a resounding applause. And we also have with us Honorable Fatima Talba. She is the Chairman House Committee on Women in Parliament. Please can we welcome her as well with a resounding applause. Thank you very much for joining us. Please, if there are persons here, either in their own capacity or in a representative capacity that are yet to be recognized, would appreciate if you can send your details to us so we can recognize you appropriately. In the meantime, we're going to be moving on. I've just been informed that we have Executive Secretary of the National Human Rights Commission just joining us, Dr. Tony Ojukwu. Can we please welcome him with a round of applause, please? Thank you very much. We're moving on very quickly. After the remarks made by the leader of the House of Representatives through the minority leader, we yet to have another remark by you. Will you still be coming back to the podium for your own remarks, or would it take it to mean that you've done the remarks for both of you? All right, so please can we give them a round of applause? That speeds up the process for us very quickly. Thank you. I like that we fix our gaze on the LED screens. We have two behind, and we have a very long one here in the front row. So for those of you that might not be able to stretch your necks, but you're closer to the ones at the rear, Please fix your gaze as we watch this State of the House 2024 recap video before we make progress.
Good evening, everyone. All protocols duly observed. My name is Isabel Anani, and I wanted to ask, so far, what bills and what policies has the House put in place to ensure that children's rights are put in front and center, especially since most times in rural areas, these are foreign concepts and things that are not talked about.
This is Nigeria, diverse, vibrant, and unbreakable. But in the shadow of its beauty lies the yearning for leadership that listens, leadership that connects. Hope is not found in words alone. It is built in moments like this, where leaders and citizens meet as one. This is the story of State of the House 2024.
Quickly, it's a people's event. This is the first time this is happening, that those who were elected have chosen to come to stand and say, okay, ask us questions. Let's tell you how it's been going, to find out whether mandate is well held. Is an indication of courage, is an expression of sense of responsibility, is a new paradigm that we hope will percolate across all other platforms where people exercise leadership responsibility, especially from the angle of representation. So we're on.
Fellow Nigerians, it is with great humility that I, on behalf of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin GCOM, and the leadership of the House, warmly welcome you to this important interactive session. We stand before you today because you have entrusted us with the vital responsibility of voicing our concerns. Democracy thrives when the people actively engage.
So my question to the House is, how is the People's House ensuring that the budget allocation addresses the issue of underemployment or unemployment among young people, access to education and skill development? Thank you.
My name is Abdul Samad Kiari, and my question is, how does the House ensure increased public funding for public schools?
We've had this infrastructure deficit for too long: roads, power, and housing. How does the 10th Assembly plan to ensure appropriate oversight to give the Nigerian people, to reduce the infrastructure deficit to a level that the Nigerian people would be comfortable with roads, power, and housing?
In addition to what my colleagues have said, with regards to the Child Rights Act, the law that we have in that space is strong. What is our major concern is the domestication of these laws in our various states.
2 days ago, I made a statement during my closing remark when Mr. President visited us. This is a country where our budget is extremely low compared to our needs. We have more than 1,000 agencies. And the total budget, if you look at it, you find that it does not satisfy up to 20% of the requirement of each and every agency we have in this country. To say important bills, which ones are better, it all depends on who you are talking to. One bill may be important to one person, it could be of less importance to another. But for me as a person, so I'm not speaking for the House as far as this is concerned, because every bill to me is important. But the ones that I'm sure we could say are more popular: the minimum wage amendment bill, the students' loan access to higher education, the cyber crimes, Prohibition Prevention Amendment Act, the Traditional Complementary and Alternative Medicine Council Bill, the Judicial Office Holders' Salaries and Allowances Bill. You will all agree with me that judges that are not well taken care of are in danger of being compromised.
And to commend the House for deciding that we should have this kind of forum where the House, the institution of the House of Representatives, is being returned to the rightful owners. So there's no better way of cultivating and deepening trust with the people we represent than speaking to them or engaging with them.
Thank you so much for coming. For all Nigerians, we say thank you for viewing us on this very important program. And we look forward to more and more engagements of this nature in the coming year 2025.
Thank you very much. I'm sure that sets the tone for what has happened in the past, what is happening now, and what we should expect to happen in the nearest future. Please put your hands together for the House of Representatives. I recognize your presence, Your Excellency Ambassador Honorable James Barka, former acting governor of Adamawa State, former Nigerian ambassador, and Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Commerce. Please, a warm round of applause for him. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. I recognize the presence of Representative Chris Nkwanta, as a Chairman, House Committee on Southeast Development Commission. Please, a warm round of applause for him. Thank you very much for joining us. And representing the President of NIPR, Nigeria Institute of Public Relations, is Professor Emmanuel Dandaura, FNIPR, Vice President and Chairman, Academic Advisory Board. Please, a warm round of applause. And then, of course, I want to mention to our ministers very quickly that your presence here is of very great importance to us, because there are likely questions that will arise from the citizens of Nigeria in the course of the interactive session. I'd like to recognize the presence of the Minority Deputy Whip. I'd like to welcome Honorable George Ozodinobi. Please, a warm round of applause for him. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. Let me, at this juncture, therefore, plead with all of us to just spare me a few minutes to run through the list of the very critical stakeholders that we've invited from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. And these recognitions are coming in no particular order, so please kindly bear with me. I'd like to, Dr. Jerry, I think your attention is needed here, or Dr. Ernest. All right, so I'd like to quickly recognize the presence from the South-South geopolitical zone of the country. We have Priscilla Usibaifo, the Executive Director, Braveheart Initiative. Please, a warm round of applause for Priscilla. Omonzelelen Augusta Agboya. A round of applause. Right Honorable Ikunji Owaji Ibani. Please, a warm round of applause for him. And Honorable Wogo Bombs. Honorable Bombs, is he here? Please put your hands together for Honorable Bombs. Southwest, we have Dr. Ayorinde Florence. We have Oyebisi Babatunde Oluseyi, Executive Director, Network of NGOs in Nigeria. Please just wave at us so that we know you're here when you rise. We also recognize Honorable Edith Omboyola, Mrs. Kolawole Deborah Abiola, Akingbola Olatunde Anthony. A round of applause for them, please. From the South, we have Professor Nkechi Emma Echiege, Executive Director, BERWO. We recognize the presence, Chief Godwin Udeakaji, Ambassador Grace Ama, and Dr. Kenneth Ereke. A round of applause for all of them, please. From the Northwest, we have Amina Hanga, Executive Director, Isa Wali Empowerment Initiative, Dr. Mohammed Sagagi, Professor Ahmadi Bello Dogarawa, we welcome you. Olusomi Benson Olubemi and Julius Jellison. Please, a round of applause for all of them as we recognize them. From North Central, we have Dr. Aminu Yusuf, Dr. Tayimako Sunday Anyubaga, and Engineer Mahmoud Kudu. Please, a round of applause. And then from Northeast, we have Ezra Samuel. Can we give all of them a round of applause, please? Thank you very, very much. And then we make progress from there very quickly to taking a few goodwill messages. And to blaze the trail with this goodwill messages, Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, would like to invite, first of all, the Honorable Minister for Livestock. Please join me in welcoming Alhaji Idi Mokhtar Maiha, Honorable Minister of Livestock Development. Please, one round of applause for him for his goodwill message. This applause is not encouraging. We can do better with that applause. The Honorable Minister, sir.
Roundtable, connectable. The Right Honorable Speaker, House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, PhD, GCON, the Deputy Speaker of the House, and distinguished leadership and members of the House, the former Speaker and former Governor of Katsina State, His Excellency, and my personal mentor, and a cattle farmer. I must add that. Your Excellencies here present, members of the Diplomatic Corps, my senior colleagues at the Federal Executive Council, other heads of agencies, ministries, and parastatals here present, respected citizens, civil society organizations, the private sector, development partners, my friends in progress in this journey of national development, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I understand the protocol is too long, but I stand hereby and recognize everyone who has graced this occasion. I bring to you fraternal and warm regards and greetings and goodwill message from the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development, the youngest ministry in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, on the occasion of the Citizens Roundtable hosted under the able leadership of the House of Representatives of the National Assembly. This forum represents the very essence of participatory democracy. This is democracy in action, live and direct, where the representatives of the people create a forum to exchange ideas and chart a progressive path for national development. I salute the leadership of the House for demonstrating the foresight and the political will to deepen the dialogue between government and the governed, and open big policy, especially at this critical juncture in our national journey. We are appreciative of the remarkable progress the House has made in the life of this 10th National Assembly. Your concentration and focus on people-centered legislation that have boosted
framework for transforming the livestock sector from subsistence-based practices to a modern, commercially viable, vibrant, and climate-resilient industry. The National Livestock Growth Acceleration Strategy is built around 10 key pillars: genetic improvement and animal productivity, feed and fodder development, animal health services and zoonosis control, water resources management, in market access, market linkages, and value chain development, infrastructure development and waste management, peace building and conflict mitigation in pastoral communities and between herders and farmers, youth and women empowerment, finance and insurance, and of course, informatics, data, and statistics. Through this strategy, the ministry is working closely with state governments, private sectors, private investors, research institutions, and development partners, including grazing reserve resuscitation, pastoral settlement schemes, livestock innovation hubs, expansion of feed and feed resource base for non-ruminant animals, leather value chain development, and other sectors like honeybee, swine, micro livestock, goats and sheep, camels, donkeys, and strengthening the veterinary services through the creation of disease-free compartments and zones. The ministry plans to double the national herd in terms of volume and value, increase the contribution of livestock to the national GDP from the current 5% to 10%, and reduce milk importation by 50% from the current value of about 700,000 metric tons within the next few years. But we cannot do this in isolation. The voice and lead experiences of our citizens, particularly livestock farmers, traders, youth, and women, must remain central to our policy making and implementation programs. That is why this roundtable is timely and crucial. It reinforces the message that development is not about working for the people. It is working with the people. And that's why we are here collaborating with the legislature. Distinguished participants and this engagement, honorable members, your excellencies, I also wish to underscore the important role of the legislature in giving legal and financial backing to these reforms. Strategic investments in rural infrastructure, extension services, animal health systems, breed improvement, feed and fodder development, and access to credit. Access to credit, establishment of more veterinary schools and training colleges for capacity building must be championed through legislative action and appropriation. We count on your continued partnership and oversight to ensure that these goals are met. And there's nowhere to talk about this than here at this Center of Excellence, where all the leadership of the House are here gathered. As we deliberate today, I encourage us to focus not only on the challenges, but also on the immense opportunities before us. Nigeria has the largest livestock population in West Africa and a rising demand for protein in egg, milk, and meat. We have 58 animal cattle, 120 million goats, 60 million sheep, 9.3 million pigs, 410,000 donkeys. These are not just numbers. These are business opportunities for everyone today who is interested in livestock value chain. With the right policies, partnerships, and political will, we can unlock the full potential of this sector and create millions of jobs, reduce import dependency, and foster social cohesion and national prosperity. In conclusion, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, from the bottom of our heart in the Ministry of Livestock, we commend the House of Representatives for convening this important dialogue. And I thank all who have shown up here with purpose and passion to participate in this engagement. Together, let us build a livestock sector and a nation, our dear nation, Nigeria, that works for all, for shared prosperity and multidimensional abundance. Once again, I thank the leadership of this House for creating this forum. It is indeed a legacy and a testimony to democratic governance. Thank you very much. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
We appreciate you, the Honorable Minister for Livestock Development. Please, another round of applause for him. And whilst he was delivering his goodwill, the Honorable Minister, Agriculture and Food Security of Nigeria just walked in. I'd like to recognize very specially Senator Abubakar Kyari's CON. Please, sir, I've been asked to ask you to come over here so that you can feel very relaxed. Please, next to the representative of the Speaker, can we please applaud him one more time? Thank you very much, sir. Let me then recognize the presence of the Director General, African Development Bank, represented here. That's Dr. Abdul Kamara, represented at this occasion by Omotere Davis. Please, can we put our hands together for Omotere Davis, where you're seated? Oh, wow, far away there. But we welcome you very, very warmly to this event. We're moving on now. So the next goodwill message, I dare say that is not encapsulated on our program, the program brochure, but then the organizers have deemed it fit to ensure that we get a goodwill message from our very revered honorable ministers that are here. May I therefore at this juncture invite the Honorable Minister of Trade, rather Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwale, to please do us the honor of lending her voice to the goings on. Please can we give her a round of applause as she comes off. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, the Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, the leadership and members of the House of Representatives of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, my colleagues, honorable ministers, and other senior leaders of the administration, His Excellency, the former governor, thank you very much for always supporting us and being here. Ladies and gentlemen, my task is simple. I'm here to listen to citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I bring you greetings from His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. From the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, our mandate is simple: to make Nigeria progressively easier to do business. We focus on making sure that we retain investment, that businesses operating within the shores of Nigeria have a conducive environment. We also attract investment and capital to the country, patient capital, capital markets, foreign direct investments. We work on trade policy, making sure that the tariffs and the trade rules and trade facilitation, that people who do business, especially exports, which will ensure that our balance of payments, generation of foreign exchange is balanced for our economy, much needed supply. So making sure that businesses that seek to export can leverage on rules such as the African Continental Free Trade Area, on rules from the multilateral trading system and the World Trade Organization, and other bilateral trade agreements. So we continue to leverage and develop strategic relationships. We have long-term trade partners. We're also cultivating newer trade partners across the world. You would know from Mr. President's various trips that as at December 2024, he had been able to galvanize announcements of over $50 billion. And our job is to continue to track those investments and make sure they come into the economy. We also focus on the regulatory. We support and work with agencies that want to, and citizens also, that want to enable the business environment. We've had a long-term, very, very good relationship with the National Assembly and continue to foster and contribute our quota to the legislations that come out of this great house. And so my task here is really to listen to you and to take your comments back to the federal ministry and to other cabinet members, and to continue to collaborate with colleagues on this side of the legislature as we collectively together support and serve the Nigerian people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Let me invite very quickly to lend his voice to the program. I'd like to invite a former member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Dr. Tanko Yusuf Sununu, who stands in today as the Honorable Minister of State, Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. Please, a warm round of applause for him.
Well, the Right Honorable Speaker, ably represented by my brother, my friend, the House Leader, the Minority Leader, and other leaders of the National Assembly here present, our past principal officers of the House of Representatives, who have remained the icon of and hope for us, former Governor of Katsina State, and also Right Honorable Patricia Ete, members of Diplomatic Corps, invited guests. Because of time, let me just start by saying that I want to use this opportunity to congratulate the leadership of House of Representatives, because the saying goes, there is nowhere you can be that you permanently a member and will always you are there, than to step in the greenhouse and the green chamber for you to make Nigeria green. And I remain proud member of the House of Representatives. I was a member in the 9th and also in the 10th Assembly, and we struggled. We gave support to our leaders to be, and we are proud that today we are happy you are for Nigerians. This meeting on its own stand alone, that really we have a leadership that cares. Ability to listen and give feedback is a major characteristic of leadership. And I therefore want to salute you and encourage you to continue with this. For us as a ministry also, we always relate well with National Assembly. And I also want to use this opportunity to call on Nigerians. Crisis between legislature and executive is not a feature of democracy. And democracy did not also accept rubber stamping, but it agrees and calls for alignment. And I think that's what we're having right now. There is a very good alignment between executive and legislature. And that's why we are seeing a lot of progress. How do you dispute that National Assembly is not a rubber stamp to executive? There are two different laws. We have a proposal presented by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to the National Assembly as a budget proposal. And we also have budget report submitted by the National Assembly to the President, which is assented by the President to become an act, which is the law. Please take your time. Compare the proposal and the act. Is it word for word? Is it item for item, value for value? If you cannot convince yourself that that is exactly what happened, then you know that there is serious legislative input to make it perfect and also to make it easy for the legislative arm of executive arm of government to execute and implement for the welfare of Nigerians. So what we rightly have now is a strong alignment between the National Assembly and the executive arm of the government to make Nigeria better. And we will continue to preach to that so that Nigerians will understand the function. And for those of us, with due respect to my elder brother, distinguished Senator Kerry, if you have passed through the two arms, you will really know that you cannot make it better than when you have a strong alignment. It is our hope that the 8-point agenda of Mr. President in reviewing the hope of Nigerians will see the light of the day through the alignment we have, and this country will be governed well. Thank you very much for the draft.
A goodwill message of the Honorable Minister of State, Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Poverty Reduction there. Please, can we give him another round of applause as we make bold welcoming for his own goodwill message, the Honorable Minister for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, CON. Please, a warm round of applause for him as he comes forward.
Thank you, Andy. Right Honorable Speaker, the House of Representatives, ably represented by the Leader of the House, honorable members of the House of Representatives, Herr President, the former Speaker and former Governor of Katsina State, Right Honorable Aminu Masari, the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Patricia Ete, my colleagues, honorable ministers here present, that of Livestock Development, Trade and Industry and Trade, and Minister of State for Humanitarian Affairs. And of course, I would like to especially recognize Ambassador Jerry Ugoke, whom with Right Honorable Aminu Bello Masari and Patricia Ete and Jerry Ugoke and myself were in this honorable house 26 years ago. And of course, this is like a homecoming to me. Having spent 12 years in the National Assembly, I've not seen anything like this. But I think the foundation was laid a long time ago for such an event to happen. However, I was asked to come and say a few goodwill messages. I know by the time I start talking, I think there may be, maybe Mr. Speaker will call me to order, but just to say that I'm always thrilled and excited when National Assembly invites me as a minister, because I remember when we used to invite ministers to come here, and the first time I was invited to come to the House of Representatives, I said, okay, oh, the hunter has become the hunted now. So, but this one, I think it's not an issue of public hearing or budget defense. It's something the other way around, to be accountable to the public so that the public will know what government is doing, whether it's from the legislature or from the executive. And this is a platform for both legislature and the executive to be accountable to the people that have voted the legislature and has voted Mr. President, by extension, whom he had appointed us as ministers. So my work is also very simple. My mandate is actually anchored as the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security in the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, which prioritizes food security as a matter of national urgency. We all recall almost 2 years ago, in July 2023, Mr. President had declared an emergency on food security. That in itself is an indication that there was a problem in terms of availability, affordability, and accessibility to food. Thereafter, when he swore us in as ministers, he changed the name of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security for emphasis. And I believe we set out immediately on that mandate and see to it that how do we make food accessible, affordable, and also available. So at that time, I recall when we made our analysis and we found out several issues that had brought about the insecurity of food. Let me not go far, but starting from just as recent as COVID 5 years ago, which had impacted on global food supply and global food chain. Then fast forward to 2022, you may recall the devastating floods that took place all over the country that had impacted on not only communities but also on farmlands. Then of course in 2022 as well, around October, when the central bank had that policy of Naira redesign, that actually that was one of the biggest impacts on farmers because there was a shortage of cash. And of course, you know, in our rural areas, mode of transaction is cash-based, and there are limited financial institutions for to take care of transactions between farmers, farmhands, and also traders and commodity dealers. So that really had an impact on farmers. They had to slash their prices for the little available cash that there is so that they could sell their produce during harvest, because that was around the time of harvest in October 2022. Fast forward 2023, March was time for preparation of land for the wet season cultivation. That too, also, they didn't have enough cash in their hands, and that actually dampened the production of food in 2023. 2024, several issues happened. Mr. President immediately directed us to provide palliatives from the release of 42,000 metric tons of associated grains, and also the delivery of 58,000 tons of milled rice to all states in the Federation as a stopgap situation to ease the situation at hand. But most importantly, he also mandated us to go all year round farming, of which we made a program of wheat cultivation in November 2023, and also rice cultivation in the dry season of January, February of 2024, and also the major wet season of 2024, where Mr. President had given out 2,150,000 bags of fertilizer free of charge. That in itself was a milestone that has not been seen in this country for quite a while, where 200,000 tons of fertilizer was issued to farmers free of charge. And that in itself brought about a lot of productivity, and harvest was positive, where, of course, you know, pricing, market price is an issue of economics, it's an issue of supply and demand, and we had a lot of supply, and the demand was stable. And of course, what we see today is stabilization of prices. Yet, Mr. President is still not convinced of the level of price that we have. But we know that what we have seen between 2023 and 2025, we have seen an improvement and stabilization of food prices. We are at a point where we are even caught between price stabilization, between welfare of the consumer and also welfare of the farmer. As I'm talking to you today, farmers are complaining that food prices are low, that they may not be able to break even. And very soon, I've been told that time is up. So I will be available for any questions and comments, because very soon Mr. President is going to launch the 2,000 tractors that he has, we have procured from Belarus Tractors. We have already delivered 1,000 on the 23rd of June, 2025. Mr. President is going to launch the deployment of these tractors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think we should do us the honor of making it very business-like. So we take very few minutes, like 2 or 3, and then, of course, skip protocols as much as possible for want of time. I recognize the presence of Ambassador Timothy Nwachukwu. He is a technical assistant, Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Students Engagement. Thank you for joining us. Engineer Kara Joseph Wakili is Chairman, Joint National Association of Persons with Disability. welcome you, FCT chapter. Thank you very much. So moving on very quickly, we'll take the very next goodwill messages, and would like to, just as we pleaded for us to make it business-like, please let's just adhere to that. Our host, the Executive Secretary, National Assembly Library Trust Fund, is next on the line for his goodwill message. Honorable Henry Mwauba. Please a round of applause for him.
Thank you very much. The Right Honorable Speaker, ably represented by the Leader of the House, please permit me to adopt the well-established protocol list to welcome you all to this very important event, which I might add is not happening for the first time. I think this is a very bold step by the leadership of the 10th Assembly to open up themselves just a month, roughly a month before we have the NAS Open Week, which further opens up the National Assembly for citizens' engagement, robust engagement. I think the 10th Assembly has demonstrated a very high sense of commitment towards transparency in governance, starting from the legislative agenda, where they committed in one of the agendas that they're going to support the takeoff and the establishment of the National Assembly Library. And today, we are seated in this wonderful facility, and all these wonderful stakeholders, Nigerian stakeholders, have gathered to interrogate, to ask questions, to see what has happened and what will likely happen for the remainder of the Assembly. I want to thank Mr. Speaker, the leadership of the 10th Assembly, for this opportunity to constantly engage. It was Simon Sinek, a very renowned leadership expert, who said, good leaders see everyone and not just those in the spotlight. This is being demonstrated again today. I welcome you all. The National Assembly Library is a center for debates and dialogue. It is open to all Nigerians. We have both physical resources and digital online resources. We are excited that you are able to come. We continually have discussions, roundtables, and this is a center for innovation on policy. So thank you for this opportunity. Welcome to the National Assembly, and I can't wait for the engagement to begin. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, the Executive Secretary. To those whom the Ford Foundation are supporting this program, that is Global Rights, the Executive Director was meant to be here with us. She also joined us online. By the way, we have a lot of Nigerians joining us online because this program is not only being televised, it's also being streamed live. So we'd like to invite the program's manager for Global Rights, Edosa Oweiwe, to please come and give us the goodwill message. Please, the volume is going down. What's the problem? Are we changing batteries? Let's do this very quickly, please. Are you there? It's not audible. Please bear with us a while. Please skip protocol as much as possible. Give us some volume on this, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, distinguished members of the House, honorable ministers here present, civil society, organizational leaders that are here, community leaders, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to be addressing you this afternoon at this Citizens Roundtable, an important dialogue between the people and the leadership of the House of Representatives under the banner of a project co-implemented by Global Rights and the Project Coordination Unit, PCU, of the House of Representatives, with the kind support from Ford Foundation. The project is actually coined after the People's House, a slogan imbued by the present House of Representatives to demonstrate its intention to fully represent the will and the aspirations of the people of Nigeria. This engagement, therefore, could not be more timely or more necessary. Across the world, strong democracies are built on the foundation of representative governance, where the parliament serves as a critical bridge between the people and the state. The parliament, by its very nature and mandate, is the most proximate arm of government to the people. It is indeed the people's house. Yet, as we all know, that bridge is still underutilized. For many Nigerians, the legislative process remains remote, complex, and far removed from their daily realities. Citizens are often unaware of how laws are made, how their representatives function, and most importantly, how they themselves can meaningfully engage with and influence these processes. This is why I mentioned earlier that I'm glad to address you today, because this roundtable represents a critical step in building stronger bridges between citizens and their representatives and reversing this disconnection while also promoting a more inclusive, participatory, and responsive legislative culture in Nigeria. Today's roundtable is not just another meeting, it is a space for re-dialogue, for bridging gaps, and for reshaping the relationship between citizens and the legislature. As we engage today, let us be bold in not just identifying the obstacles, but also be creative in building solutions. Finally, I thank the House leadership for embracing this opportunity and would like to encourage continued openness to citizens' engagement beyond today. Together, we can ensure that the People's House is not just symbolic, but truly participatory, transparent, and accountable to those it serves. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much. Let me very quickly at this point invite the former presiding officers that are here at this point with us at this event. I'd like to very warmly welcome the first female speaker of the House of Representatives, Her Excellency, Right Honorable Patricia Olubumiete, to please come forward for her goodwill. We can make better that round of applause for the first female speaker of the House of Reps.
Thank you very much. The Speaker, House of Representatives, ably represented by the Leader of the House, the Minority Leader, the Deputy Minority Whip, Principal Officers, my boss, the Speaker of the Fifth Assembly, former Governor of Katsina State, and currently the Chairman, Tet Fund Commission. My dear colleagues, ministers here present, especially our dear colleagues that they are ever supporting the House, the Minister for Agric, and the State Minister for Humanitarian Services, other speakers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome to the House of Representatives once again. Here today is for us to dialogue on how to move this nation forward, to unify the people we are representing, the National Assembly and the citizens of Nigeria, to hear what are your problems, and also for the National Assembly, especially the House of Representatives, to be able to see what exactly you expect from them. I really want to appreciate Mr. Speaker. Unfortunately, he's not here, but he's there with us in spirit. And I know that the leader will communicate back to him, you know, all what transpires there today. The speaker that we are here to support, I am saying this as a former speaker, is the only speaker so far that I can say he has done extremely well. There's no time you will invite me that I will not honor him. Single-handedly, he wrote 74 bills in the House of Representatives before he became the Speaker. I doubt whether another speaker has ever done that or another person will do that. Why won't we celebrate him? He knows what is good for this nation. And, you know, they call him uncommon speaker. And not only that, they call him a politician that doesn't want to be one. And when I went through his autobiography, I knew that he deserved the position that he is today. This is the sort of person Nigeria needs to continue to lead this country because they know what it takes. He's a big bridge builder, and that is why we are here today, to ensure that at least we dialogue with Nigerians and let us know what exactly Nigeria is expecting from the House, so that at least tomorrow nobody will sit back and says, I do not partake. I don't know what the House of Representatives is doing. This is another good one, and I give the kudos to our librarian who packaged this August meeting. Please, the Ford Foundation will always like you to be our partners in progress, to ensure that things like this keep, coming up day in, day out, so that at least Nigerians will know what is going on at the National Assembly. And at the same time, I want to really appreciate the relationship between the legislators and the executive. Nigerians, if you do it well, they will complain. If you do it the other way, they call you a name. The most important thing is for you to keep moving and don't look back. I know that that is the only way Nigerians can move forward. Now we are trying to unify the House of Representatives and the citizens of this nation. Please always have that trust that you are in the people's house. I wish you very good deliberations, and the House of Representatives, well done for what you are doing. Keep the ball rolling. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Please, another round of applause for Her Excellency. Thank you very much. The very next goodwill and the very last will be coming from the Speaker of the 5th National Assembly House of Representatives, just as introduced, who also is of immediate past governor of Katsina State, and today is the Chairman Governing Council of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we call him the Speaking Speaker. Please do me a favor. Welcome this uncommon Nigerian and detribalized Nigerian, our father and our mentor, the Right Honorable Aminu Bello Masaru, CFR. Your Excellency, sir.
The Right Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, ably be represented by my friend on the other side, who has now come to our side. You know, when we were in government, he was in the villa. We were here. And luckily enough, now he's a more resident of the National Assembly than the villa. I can say here we have my classmates, about 5 of them. And I think it is good always to meet people that we started here way back in 1999 and 2003. Honorable ministers, especially my own minister, you know, I'm a Fulani member of blood, so cattle is part of my business. So, honorable ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand on existing protocol. Because when you are in the National Assembly, the members come first, any other person later. Leader, am I right? Good. My colleague, Mrs. Ete, has spoken, so I should have endorsed all that she has said and just go back and sit down. But let me say the House is doing what it's supposed to do. Citizens' engagement. Meeting the people, giving them opportunity to say, to voice their feelings is very, very important. Even if you don't get all that you have asked for or complained for, at least you have given opportunity to say your mind. That is all democracy is about. It's not about that you may be doing good, alone, unknown, but when you come to the People's Square, to the parliament, to gatherings like this, it is an opportunity for you to know and to also express your own opinion and views. And I'm sure the National Assembly will learn also a lot. And the Executive Secretary, I hope next year you will expand, because Nigeria is a very big country of over 230 million people. You want representations. I think you need much bigger hall, create longer time, agree with the leaders of the National Assembly and civil society. And probably in future, I think of going around, meeting the real Nigerians who are out there in the rural communities. Even though all of them have representatives here in the House of Representatives. So I think this is a very good initiative by the Honorable Speaker and the Honorable House. And it's good to hear some of my older colleagues do that. I also, as a free citizen now, I know a minister or 2 ministers that I will now going to hold them because they have made an open declaration. So we'll meet, especially the Minister of Agriculture. Thank you very much.
That is holding them accountable. That's what it is. Please, can we put our hands together for the former Speaker of the House of Representatives and immediate past Governor of Katsina State. Thank you so very much, sir. Let me recognize very quickly the presence of the Minority Whip of the House of Representatives, Honorable Dr. Alisa. Would like to welcome you. Thank you so very much for joining us. As I recognize the presence of the representative of the Honorable Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, I'd like to recognize Mr. Wale Edu, represented here by Dorcas Oyedepo. Please, a round of applause for Dorcas Oyedepo, who doubles as the Deputy Director, Library Services. Thank you so very much for joining us. And so moving on very quickly, I've been inviting my sister and friend. I'd like to invite Barrister Chimdi Naliako at this point to take over from this point as you coordinate and, of course, moderate the interactive session. Please put your hands together for her as she comes forward. Barrister Naliako.
Thank you very much. The Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, GCON, ably represented by the Leader of the House, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We're very delighted to be here again on December 20th, 2024. The leadership of the House gathered for the very first time in Nigeria's history to engage with Nigerian citizens in a live televised broadcast where citizens asked their questions. The House was able to share progress as well as plans for the coming year. At that engagement, the Right Honorable Speaker made a commitment that this would not be a once and that's it sort of thing. He said that this event will take place at least twice a year. Ladies and gentlemen, you're here witnessing the fulfillment of that promise in the first edition for 2025. A round of applause for the Right Honorable Speaker. He took it a step further and has actually even introduced zonal consultations and zonal citizens engagement events. So after this edition, which is taking place today, there will be another one this month happening in the northern region, Kaduna, and next month for the south, we'll be in Lagos, also engaging with Nigerians on the agenda of the House. Please, let's give him a louder round of applause. Thank you. So now we go to the reason why we're here, to engage with the Nigerian citizens. We're going to start with taking some questions from the zonal representatives. We have representatives for each of the 6 geopolitical zones. We'll start with them, and then we'll take some questions from the CSOs present. We have faith-based organizations. We also have professional institutions and citizens covering women, youth, and persons with disabilities, of course. So in no particular order, we will start with the Northwest Zone. Do we have any question from the Northwest Zone, from the zonal representatives? While we're still waiting for hands, I will say that while this is an engagement with the leadership of the House, for the questions that should be directed to our dear honorable ministers that are here, we would also be able to pass on the microphone so that Nigerians can hear from the honorable ministers here present. Okay, okay, we have a hand. Can the moderator please?
Thank you very much. My name is Ahmed Bello Dogarawa from Kaduna State, Northwest. My question goes as follows. What is the leadership of the House of Representatives doing about the state of security in Northwest Nigeria? Because the level of insecurity is increasingly skyrocketing every day. And a lot is actually happening, as we all know. So is it not possible for the leadership of the House to advise the current administration to declare a state of emergency on the issue of insecurity in Northwest Nigeria? Lastly, one of the issues of concern that have been raised regarding the 2025 budget is the issue of absence of breakdown of budgetary allocation to many MDAs and some government-owned enterprises. That to many Nigerians, is a sign that there is no accountability, no transparency in the budgetary process. Although at the, especially Senate, this issue was raised before the passage of the budget, but unfortunately, without any effort to ensure that it was revised and updated, the budget was passed as presented. What is the leadership of the House doing about this? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Perhaps to save time, we should take all the questions with the leave of the leader. Okay, so we'll take all the questions from the 6 zones, and then we'll start with those, and then we can come back to take more questions. So we will now move on to the Northeast zone. Do we have any questions from the Northeast? Okay. So if you could please introduce yourself by telling us your name and what organization you represent, then you can please keep your question to 30 to 45 seconds so that we can manage time effectively. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Loko Ere Geoffrey. I am from Taraba State. My question is on the issue of oversight. I understand or I believe very strongly that the legislature is actually democracy. Take legislature out, democracy is gone. And when we talk about abandoned projects, we talk about corruption, we talk about all the ills, I believe strongly that it is the function of the National Assembly to do oversight, to do proper appropriation, to ensure that these things are done correctly. So what is actually happening that we still have these issues every day on corruption, on abandoned projects, on some of these issues? What is the National Assembly doing to ensure that budgets are implemented, the right things are done, corruptions are curbed, we see development as it is expected?
Thank you very much for that question. Moving on to the next zone, can we get a representative from the North Central zone? We have a hand up in front. North Central zone, can we have one representative, please? Thank you.
All protocol observed. I'm Mr. Benson Olusomi from Kogi. I like to direct my question to the Minister of Industry. I want to give an example where I retire from Defense Industry Corporation. We have some retirees who are not tired, and they have a good experience to support the industry. But with the attitude of Nigerians, we love experts more than our indigenous, which some of them are even come. They are unable to even rectify the problem. It is the retired staff they still ask for to come and do it for them. Presently, we were engaged to do some job for them. I'm telling the House to help us speak to them so that they will be using those who are retired as their expert because they know about it. Somebody who have worked for 35 years in service and maybe the age is still capable to do some things, but they prefer, and the expert will collect money more than we indigenous. That is what we see. And if they invite us, the expert will still pay us, but they will not even pay us the way they collected money from my country. And it's a bit something that I'm not happy with. I'm involved. That is why I'm saying it directly to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Moving to the south, we'll start with the Southeast zone. Do we have a representative of the Southeast zone?
Yeah. Your Excellencies, my question is on power. Electricity subsidy has been removed from 66 naira to 290 naira. How can the poor survive this? and what is the House doing about it? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. We'll move to the South. Can we have a representative of the South zone?
The Right Honorable Speaker has ably represented. Ikwinyi Wajibani, my name. My question is a general one, not necessarily on the South side, but you have others who also want to ask questions. If it's an interactive session, you don't have to limit the number of those who are going to ask questions.
Sir, thank you
because
very
don't
much.
know which
We're going
question that
to
will
take them in
benefit.
different rounds. So
Thank
we're
you
just
so
saying
much.
we're
Thank
starting
you.
with the first round, one representative per zone,
My
and then
question
we'll take it from
is
there.
to,
Thank you very much for your
is to the
understanding.
leadership of National Assembly. I know that I have my representative here too, the minority leader of the House. I'm from River State. And of course, a professor that is well known in political science. I want to ask, referencing the Nigerian Constitution, directive principles of state policy, there are conditions stated by the Constitution as to what government should be doing for the citizens, the people. Economic objective of government, social objective of government, political objective of government. And I do also know in clear terms that the National Assembly, through acts of national parliament, acts of parliament, has been dealing with one aspect of directive of state policy. Several times the Electoral Act has been amended and re-amended to democratize the political aspect of directives, principles of state policy. What of the economic? When you democratize only the political process and you are not democratizing the economic aspect, you know that most Nigerians live on the fringes. So what is the leadership and members of the House of Representatives doing in that wise to democratize the production process for Nigerians, as many Nigerians as possible, to take part? Because when you democratize the political process without democratizing the economic process, of course, you know the implication. Your guess is as good as mine. Therefore, my question, again, for us to have a clear understanding of what we are doing, what is the National Assembly leadership and the current 10th Assembly doing in that wise after 26 years of uninterrupted democratic process? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. At this point, we'll go to the last zone, last but certainly not the least. We'll hear from the Southwest zone.
My name is Ambassador Kolawole Abiola from Osun State, Southwest. My question is what happened this year in respect of JAMB examination that we face in the country. And the second one is on a WAEC examination. I'm talking in respect of education. What is the leadership of this house is doing to curb the future occurrence? Because it is saddening to the family, to the parents that were affected this year. Even the community were not addressed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. That would be the first round. As we said earlier, we have enough time to take as many questions, but to make this organized, we're going to take them in batches. So we're done with the first batch of questions, and I will hand over to the leadership of the House to do justice to the questions as they always do. And from there, we'll take some more questions. Thank you very much.
Okay. Let me just kick off. My colleagues are here, and they can all take any aspect of the questions. First, let me thank those that have spoken and those that have asked questions. It shows that you are very much in line with the House of Representatives and the National Assembly in general. First, on security. You'll be amazed to know that there is no day we sit, we don't take at least 2, 3, even 4 motions on security issues in the House. You'll be amazed at the number of bills and motions that have been taken in the first 2 years of this House, unparalleled in the history of the National Assembly, because of the concern and the direct impact. I have personally moved up to 3 or 4 motions on security based on what is happening in my own constituency alone. So you can imagine 360. And we've organized conferences, seminars, consultations. We've invited the security chiefs. We've had engagements with the leadership of the executive. In the 2025 budget, you will see our concern for security. We are putting there 5.3 trillion naira for security alone. So that is what we can do is advocacy, is legislative oversight, which we carry out regularly, is to make the laws to encourage the leadership of the security, give them assurances. Luckily, I was among those that screened the security chiefs in the House of Representatives. And I can tell you that each of them comes very, very highly qualified in terms of experience, educational exposure, and commitment to the job. Unfortunately, Lagbaja died, but he was one person who told you, look, I will lead from the front, not from behind. So I think for the House, and I'm sure the Senate as well, we are doing all that is constitutionally possible within our powers to ensure that security, because it affects us directly. I can go to my constituency without preparing heavily and investing heavily in security. I should not be doing that. I should be free to go every week, every month, spend the weekends, interact with the people. But I dare not do that, because even if you fly into Benin City, there's a long road journey infested with kidnappers. So I think others may look at that. The issue of state of emergency, I think that is left to the executive to look at. It is not for us to suggest that. But I can assure you they are engaged with the issues. They are engaged, and the president has made it clear that for him, security is priority. Without security, no other sector can make the kind of progress that we want. I'll take one more, and I'll leave it to my colleagues. The issue of oversight. See, oversight is a two-way street. That is one of our major responsibilities. You don't just appropriate funds. You have to follow up to make sure that the money has been spent the way it's been done. And there are logistical issues. I was chairman basic education in the 9th House. There were some states my committee would then not go. In fact, some governors told us not to come. They cannot guarantee our security. If we came to the states, they said they could not. And that was the truth. So yet we're supposed to go there to see what they've done with funds from UBEC. But we didn't go. They brought papers to us in Abuja here. Those papers didn't tell us the whole story. So there are security issues involved. But the other part also has to do with the preparedness to go out there, oversight the project, do a report, and follow up on the report. If you look at the report of the Accountant General of the Federation, you'll be amazed as to the long list of infractions by MDAs. And the Public Accounts Committee is constantly working to ensure that this is resolved. For us, we take oversight very seriously. It is, in fact, a priority. You cannot appropriate money and not follow up to see how it is spent. But there are also logistical challenges that we understand and appreciate. The final point, hey, you're welcome. The final point I would want to talk about is the issue of the directive principles of state policy that my brother raised. Politics is a dynamic process, and it involves conflicting interests. It involves aspirations, dreams, hopes, and there are those who are taking notes in terms of past experiences. It will be good to, I support the fact that yes, we democratize the political aspect as we are doing with the electoral reforms, the constitutional amendment process that is chaired by the Deputy Speaker. But we also try to look at the economic process. How do we democratize it? That process would involve more engagement between the civil society and the legislators. It requires you, in the first instance, to hold your political parties accountable, to democratize the internal dimensions and workings of your political parties, to know the kind of people you are voting for, the candidates you are pushing into political office. It will require you to engage the executive as well. But if you look at the workings of the House, just to give you exact figures, I'm not trying to be smart and trying to remember. Imagine that in the House, as of June 9, 2025, we have received 2,263 bills have been introduced in the House, of which 100% received first reading. These bills are not about buying cars or buying clothes for people. It's about the conditions of our people, schools, health, infrastructure, security, and you name it. We cover everything. If a market is burnt down, somebody moves a motion that very day, matter of urgent public importance, and it must be heard. And there is a follow-up immediately to the agencies that are involved. The same House, as of June 9, that's first 2 years, it was considered 1,478 bills that are awaiting second reading. So these are past first reading, they are awaiting second reading, and I can go on with statistics. So the House is a beehive of activities, always working, chipping away at these issues you are talking about, be it provision of water, be it primary health care centers, but that is where we can go, encourage the executive to take off from there and implement based on budget allocations. So I think the extreme part of democratizing the economic dimensions of the directive principle of state policy is not what I can discuss here. The civil society people know where we engage on those issues. Here we're looking at what the House as an institution, legislators as elected representatives can do, and how much do you hold your own reps accountable to deliver to you. Many of you have never visited the constituency office of your legislator. By law, we are required to have a constituency office in that. We do. But people don't even go there. You don't write letters to them. You don't call them. You don't even visit them unless when they are throwing a party. The place will be filled up. So the blame is not just on this side. It's also on your side. In my community, I know I'm from civil society, but 90% of the civil society organizations I know don't exist in my constituency. 90%. So where is the engagement when you are a Labango or Abango, Abuja-based NGO or Lagos-based NGO? You cannot reach the people that are truly, genuinely infected or affected also by the problems that you analyze. So I think it takes two to tango. I'll leave it for my colleagues to chip in on these issues.
Just before we maybe take some more inputs, perhaps we should just formally recognize and appreciate the presence of the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Okezekalu, CON. You're welcome, sir. The engagement has started. We've started with taking questions from the 6 geopolitical zones. We had about 4 ministers of the Federal Republic who are here and have just left, but the discussion continues. And so at this juncture, I would hand over to a very distinguished minority leader for some additional points on the questions raised. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well, let me perhaps dwell a little bit issue raised by my brother and constituent, the former Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Fortunately, he's a parliamentarian, one par excellence, so he understands what the job of a parliamentarian is. On the issues of Chapter 2 of the Constitution, you will agree that every law is being drawn from that chapter of the Constitution. That's the vision, the mission, the purpose, and purport of every legislation that is chunked out of any assembly, be it state or national assembly. On the aspect of economy, specifically, the 10th Assembly, we have the local content law in non-oil and gas sector. That law, when it comes into force, will help to open up the economy in all other sectors, whether solid mineral, ICT, works, just name it, agriculture. You are from the south-south part of this country, and you know what local content has added to us from that part of the country, the local content law. So if we have the same law in non-oil and gas sector, once it is passed, you will agree with us that it will open up the economy, and that specifically takes care of the question you have raised. You're also aware of the tax law that was just passed. If you take your time to go through that law and the kind of work that the Parliament put into it to get the final document that we have today, you will also understand that it will help to ease businesses within our country, and it will also open up our economy. So specifically, these are some of the things that we have done in that sector that you raised. Now, the other issue, it's that of, from Mr. Benson, perhaps we'll just talk about it. The question was to the Minister of Industry, and I'm sure that the Minister has taken note of your issue, that there is need to use professional retirees, experts that are retired, in adding value to what we are doing. The issue of fuel subsidy also came up, and what we are doing to assist in power, electricity, and what we are doing. Several, like the House leader railed out, we can give you a number of motions that has come up and resolutions of the House that has to do with that sector, both on the issues of increase in the power tariffs. Investigations have also been carried out and is still ongoing concerning the increase, looking at the laws, looking at the increase, looking at the consumption and all that, whether it's one that is doable or not doable. Some of the arguments that we get from the other end, the Nigerian public might not be privy to it. Some even go to the extent of telling us that, look, if we continue at the rate that we are today, we cannot even function. Also recall that we're also trying to open up the economy in our country today, privatizing some of these issues. And so when you privatize completely, it becomes a little bit difficult for you to tie down everything that has to do with pricing. So it must be give and take. We must look at it critically and ensure that whatever pricing that comes up is one that is fair, proper, and will also allow the business investors to survive. Else they will be out of business. So we have not folded our arms. Work is ongoing in that sector. Let me also allow others perhaps to make additions to the issues raised. Thank you.
Okay, Your Excellency, the Deputy Speaker, the leadership, let me stand on. Yeah, let me stand on the existing protocols. I think the 10th Assembly is doing quite a lot, And as your representatives, we'll continue to do as much as we can to ensure that there is succor, there is development, there is progress, there is peace and tranquility for this nation. As your representatives, this 10th Assembly frowned at the issue of JAM and WAEC. If you watched the media, even His Excellency, the Deputy Speaker, personally took the center space on the issue of the fumbling of JAM and WAEC. And the House is doing an investigation to ensure that they get to the root of this challenge. Our children need better education. Our children need to be at school at the right time. And if for any reason, any agency falters in ensuring that the right thing is done, the House does not waste time in calling an investigation and ensuring that there is proper investigations and recommendations, decisions are taken by the House and then sent for executive implementation. Of course, we know that we don't implement recommendations. We recommend action points to the executive arm for implementation. And thereafter, we oversight the implementation of those recommendations. As to issue of opening up the democratic space in terms of electoral process, but leaving the economic space, I think the minority leader has spoken extensively about it. But I like to say that our democracy is 26 years. The parliament is 26 years. We have done quite a lot in that direction, spanning from previous assemblies to the present assembly, even in terms of constitutional amendment, where even the issue of power has been liberalized, to ensure that even states provide power. The issue of airports have been liberalized to ensure that states participate. And now we are going on with another constitution review. I know that for those of us who come from the South, we need a deeper economic, breakthrough that states, will be able to take certain responsibilities by themselves in terms of what revenue, what minerals and all that are coming. I know that members of the House has once or twice brought bills to that extent that have not been able to really pass through legislative crucible to be passed and assented to, Mr. President. But I think in 26 years and more, we are doing a lot more, and we hope that even in the next 2 years, a lot more will be done. In terms of the issues of security that our leader spoke about, this 10th Assembly has held several security sessions because of the importance of security. And I can say that most of the motions in the floor, almost on weekly basis, you have motions as to issues of insecurity. It's worrisome to all of us. And our inputs are always being communicated to the executive arm of government for implementation. And so I can assure you that the 10th Assembly is doing quite a lot, will do a lot more, and will be answerable to you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, His Excellency, the Deputy Speaker of People's Assembly, and the leadership and colleagues, and the invited guests. I remain Honorable George Ibezima Kozotinobi, the Deputy Minority Whip of 10th Assembly. When a group of people have confidence in themselves, they present themselves to the public to be mirrored. I was in 5th Assembly, and I know what transpired in 4th Assembly up to 9th Assembly. No assembly to date, apart from this 10th assembly, have. This is the second time for them to face this public to ask questions. It shows that we have confidence for what we have done for this country within 24 months. A lot of bills, as the leader has enumerated, and all of that. But I'll take the issue of budget, the question asked by the representative of Northwest. Yes, the budget was passed by the National Assembly and House of Rep in particular. I think the question he asks on budget breakdown, we have done what we're supposed to do. And I guess the representative of the Minister of Finance is here. They are the people who are supposed to give the entire public the breakdown of what we have passed. It's not in our purview to do such that. So I'll remind the representative of Minister of Finance, if that was not done, let it be done immediately. The issue of security has been emphasized by my colleagues. We are today going through constitutional amendment, heavily led by the chair, who is the deputy chairman, who is the deputy speaker of this house. The entire country, just to tell you for free, has been zoned into 12 places. In the next 1 month, we'll all be going down to our zones to hear from our people. And in that context, a lot of security issues will come up. Bills are there to be shared with all of us. Issue of community policing, if the public wants it, we'll move ahead. And a whole lot of other things, because it has majorly to do with food security, if we get it right, and all of that. So I think I'll rest my answer to this to leave the space for my fellow leaders to look into that. But I want to thank all of you for coming. It's a huge house, and you can feel our library space is here for everybody to explore. Thank you.
One statement, then we'll go back to the audience, please.
Thank you. Just to add to the question from Mohamed Bello on the absence of breakdown of budget, I want to be specific. The breakdown is with us. It's supposed to be in the public realm. We didn't pass the budget without a breakdown. We had specific projects, and after we had passed it, assigned every member. You can ask your member for a copy of the national budget. If you can't get it on the website of Ministry of Finance, if it's not online, you can ask your member. Every member was given the volumes of the budget as we passed it. So you can even look at projects that are in your constituency, specific projects of ministries in your constituency. So the budget was passed with the breakdown. I just want to be specific on that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sirs. Very elaborate and fitting responses from a responsive House. A round of applause for the leadership of the House. And now a round of applause for the citizens of Nigeria. We'll go to the next round of questions, and this time around we'll be starting with the CSOs present. We'll take about 4 CSOs to ensure there's some gender balance. We'll take 2 male representatives of the sector and 2 female, and then we'll also take representatives from the faith-based organizations present. We'll start from the back this time around so that we don't discriminate. So again, please just say your name, the organization you're representing, and let's have the question in 30 to 45 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Deputy Speaker, leadership of the House, please permit me to stand on the already established protocol. My name is Faith Wadishi. I work with the Center for Transparency Advocacy. So very quickly, my first question is, it's been 2 years that subsidy was removed. And as representatives of the people, what have you done to interrogate the savings and the impact it has had on our society and economy? The second question is directly related to that. I know that the House, an investigation on crude oil theft, and up till now, we have not seen or heard about the outcome of that report or that investigation, as so many other investigations that the House carried out on behalf of. The third question is about the bill on the extra seats for women. 2027 is around the corner. How urgent is this bill for the National Assembly, especially the House of Representatives? And finally, the leadership, sir. This dialogue we have at the level are very interesting. But if you take the statistics of the members of the House, how many members actually go back to their constituencies to hold this kind of dialogues? How many members actually have functioning constituency offices within their constituency to help their constituents engage them? Oh, I don't know if the Minister for Livestock is here. This last question is to the Minister for Livestock. He enumerated the number of livestock that we have, and the first question that came to my mind is, the goats in my village, is it part of that statistics? What is the tool that was used to determine the number of cattle, goats, and others? Because I would like to share that with my villagers. I come from Amai in Delta State, in Okwane local government area, and I would like to share that statistics or the tool that was used to get that. Perhaps the goats in my village will become part of that statistics. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam. We'll take the next question from a gentleman this time.
My name is Otive Buzo. I'm the founding executive director of the African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development. I just have two quick questions. Over the years, civil society organizations in Nigeria have advocated for increased budgetary allocation to education, health, and agriculture. But we have not moved the needle. And we know that without increased allocation to this sector, quality of life of citizens cannot change. Is there anything the 10th anniversary, the 10th Assembly is doing in this regard? The second question, I had the opportunity of working in the National Assembly last season as the Chief of Staff to the Deputy President of the Senate. I know that the greatest weak point of the National Assembly is poor oversight. What is this 10th Assembly doing to change that weakness? Those are my two questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We'll take the third question. Maybe we can come up a bit more, maybe to the middle of the room, so we don't leave them out as well.
God bless you. A very good day to everybody, all protocols duly observed. I'm happy the mic got to me, and a question the children around me usually ask. I am happy I have an opportunity to ask a question here. The children have been asking...
What's your name, please?
Oh, I'm Dorothy
Thank
Njemanze. I'm a survivor of sexual and gender-based violence, and I work for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. Now, the children around me keep asking how two-thirds majority votes is measured in voice votes. That is something so many children have asked me, and I'm not able to explain. So it will help if you can help. And then in seeming times of peace, sexual and gender-based violence thrives and is taking a toll on us daily. Now, yesterday, I saw a student who sold her eggs to be able to raise 100,000 naira, and 100,000 naira was after the cut that agents will get. Now, I also saw a student who needed to sell her eggs to be able to start her business to keep her in school. And while all this is going on, there are also so many children we see who have needed to choose to leave school so that they can eat food. This preamble I'm setting is because over time, sexual violence is on the increase in Nigeria. In Aba, we're tracking teenage sisters, adolescent sisters who have one has just put to bed. There's sexual violence everywhere. But it seems like the uncommon loudness of the silence of legislators on issues of sexual harassment is alarming. And to that effect, my question would be, beyond the policy on sexual harassment, what oversight functions on sexual harassment is happening? Whether it's with bills or even implementation of the court judgments like the Dorothy Njemanzi and 3 others versus of Nigeria case. What is the legislature doing about this? Thank you.
Thank you. So we take one from a gentleman.
My name is Distinguished Senator Ezra Joko. I was in the Fourth Republic as a young man, but today I'm an older person. And if you listen to most discussions, we talk about women, children, and youths. Nobody mentions older persons again. And everybody's prayer is that they will grow old. Today, there is no legal framework protecting the rights and privileges of older persons. On this, I want to commend the House of Representatives that the bill on the right of older persons has gone through second reading. Thank you very much, House. We look forward to it being passed. Similarly, in the 9th Assembly passed the bill also. The bill was transmitted to the then president, and he did not sign it before he left, neither did he return it to the Assembly. We hope that the bill that is with the House now will be passed very soon, and they would do the necessary with the Senate, and that will be passed. But there's need for Nigerians to begin to think about older persons. Do you know that when you work with all your energy at 60, when you retire, you go home without health insurance cover up to today? No coverage, nothing, no gratuity for the next 28 months. A lot of our older persons are suffering. I'm the president of the Coalition of Societies for the Right of Older Persons, about 167 NGOs, CSOs throughout this country. And the issues of older persons are being neglected at every level. Not even the international organizations come to our aid in the CSOs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished. We'll take 2 more questions from CSOs before we move to the next round.
Thank you very much. My name is Omoumi Ogorotimi. I'm the Executive Lead at Gender Mobile Initiative. So one of the critical concerns of Nigerians and also the CSO organizations is the fate of progressive bills, that are passed at the House of Representatives and they transition to the Senate, given the constitutional requirement that there is a need for a concurrence. So my question is, what mechanism does the House of Reps have in place to ensure that there is a seamless progression, especially bills that actually address, urgent national matters? And one in time is the anti-sexual harassment bill. in tertiary education institutions. The statistics are alarming. 70% of every female undergraduate, that's an alarming crisis. And I think that we all have one person, two persons, three persons in higher education. And of course, the same also goes for secondary schools and primary schools. That bill has actually, hit a brick wall at the Senate since last year, November. I really want to commend the leadership of the House of Reps. They were quite, prompt with passing that bill. But the question is the seamless process from getting a concurrence at the Senate and also ditto for the House of Reps, because I also believe in the principle of reciprocity. But it seems to be projected when it's very convenient. That's my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So last question from the CSOs for this round.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Oyebisi Oluseyi, and I work with the Nigerian Network of NGOs. If this is a citizens' roundtable, it means that citizens must have the ability to be able to speak. And I think what we are seeing in recent times and trends is the use of the Cyber Crimes Act to make citizens not to be able to speak. The other bit is around some of the bills that we've also seen on the floor of the House of Representatives that are not necessarily going to enhance the work of civil society organizations. Here's my question. What is the 10th Assembly, especially the House of Representatives and the People's Representative, doing to ensure that citizens and citizen organizations can work with the Assembly in providing information that is critical to our survival, but also more importantly, to our democracy?
Thank you very much. Just before we wrap up, do we have any representatives from faith-based organizations? Okay, we'll take one question from him. And did she have a question? Okay, we'll take one question from this gentleman up front, and then we'll take another one from there, since we don't have questions from the faith-based organizations.
All right, thank you very much. I am architect Nasser Suleiman Chamba, and I'm the president of United Nigerian Youth Congress, an organization that was formed over a decade ago with the mission under a foundation of promoting national unity, peace, and patriotism across the country. I have to commend the 10th, I have to be specific, because I am commending the 10th House of Representatives of this great effort in making sure that Nigerians are not left behind. This is indeed a commendable effort. Yesterday, when I received the message, the letter for this meeting, I left Kanu yesterday and I came here, even though on my way I had a terrible accident. It was with God that I even survived. My car was totally damaged because of how important this is. We have a structure in the national level, the state level, the local government level, and all the 700, of course, and 74 local governments that we have in this country. So it is somehow very important to me because I am a Nigerian. But somehow we have begun to witness empty seats from those who are on the high table. Based on what the former governor of Katsina State said, that we are free to speak our minds. Well, somehow he left the place before we start speaking our minds. But still, the 10th Senate is one of the best Senate that we have ever had. 10th House, I mean, sorry. No, that is why I'm very specific. So, all right, yeah, I'm going. What is the BOI doing, or what is the House of Representatives doing in order to give the Nigerians the greatest opportunity to invest? Because right now in our country, it is not easy to get access to funding. A lot of people, a lot of our youth have these initiatives, these ideas, but they have no access to funding. And that is why under the United Nigerian Youth Congress, we have embarked on a mission to empower 37,000 Nigerians across the country. But now the problem is Nigerians with ideas have no access to funding. In all countries that survived or that succeeded, you'll find out that all they need is ideas. If you have ideas, you have access to funding. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the last question for this round. Don't worry, there'll still be another round. So if you don't ask your question now, there'll still be another opportunity.
Good afternoon, House. It's a privilege to be here. I work with the Women's Rights Advancement and Protection Alternative, RAPA, and with a coalition of CSOs offering gender and technical support through the Gender Technical Unit at the House of Representatives. I think this is a very welcome initiative to ensure that citizens' voices are heard and amplified, and also ensure that our issues on national discourse is tabled before the House. I want to actually ask the Committee on Constitutional Review what states the bill on 35% affirmative action regarding the 74 special seats bill, where it is so far, because we're aware that it's been forwarded to the Committee on the Review for Constitutional Amendments, and we are yet to hear the legislative action being taken on that, because we believe that the welfare of women and girls in this country largely depends on the women's representation in the nation. And this is an opportunity to ask that specific question to know whether there's political will to move this beyond where it is currently. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. At this juncture, we'll turn over to the leadership and members of the House of Representatives to respond to the questions that have been posed. Thank you very much.
Take on any of the questions?
Yeah, okay, let me...
Go ahead, Legis.
Thank you, our leader, the Deputy Speaker, other distinguished leaders, and our guests. Let me start by thanking all of you for coming here today. This has also confirmed to you that the House of Representatives is open to Nigerians, is willing to listen to Nigerians, and also see how we can partner together to ensure that this country move forward. I understand some of the questions. One of our, I think from one of the NGOs was making reference about whether the House of Representative members are also extending this engagement in their constituencies. Whether we have in the House of Representatives, we also have constituency offices. Let me assure you that to my knowledge and to the leadership knowledge, almost all the constituencies of the House of Representatives, there are functional offices. We have a committee in the House that monitor to ensure that members have constituency offices. And I remember the leadership last year encouraged all the 360 members to go back to their constituencies and engage the constituent before even the budget presentations, where the leadership also extended it before passing of the budget. We did other engagement here in Abuja to ensure that a lot of input were received from the public. On the issue of investigations, the Constitution Section 88 empower the House to investigate any matter that is brought to it by the members. Even the general public can also lay petitions to the House if they have issues they want it to be looked into. So the House is doing its work, and after investigations, the House definitely have to forward the report to the relevant agencies, which are expected to take necessary actions. So I believe the 10th House of Representatives is doing very well. I was in the 8th Assembly, and I know how open the 8th Assembly was. But this 10th House of Representatives is doing more than you can believe. On daily basis, the leadership are engaging the general public, are engaging their constituents to ensure that people's input are captured in all what we are doing. Then, okay, our colleague, our former colleague, the elder statesman who spoke about the bill that is in second reading, that's to show you how serious we are. And we are going to, our deputy speaker is here, who is always the driver on that aspect. We will ensure that the bill get to the get the light of the day. On the issue of concurrence, we are working closely with the Senate, and we, just like the Senate too, anytime they pass bills, they have to seek for our concurrence. We are working as a family, we are working as a team, as a members of National Assembly. So it's always not difficult. It's difficult for you to even identify a bill that has been passed by the House and was rejected by the Senate. That's to show you how closely we are working and all our committees are working together. Thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Deputy Speaker, our leader and our leadership, and our guests. Good afternoon once again to everyone. While I'm standing on the existing protocol as earlier established, I just want to provide more insights into some of the questions raised by our people, because we are serving you, we are serving the Nigerians. From Senator Eze, thank you very much, sir, for the observation. And I want to draw your attention as well that shortly before we plenaries, the House got a motion for the retirees that government been owing for some time, the 25% and the 30%. 25% palliative to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal. We did know it has been a protracted issue for some time, and when it was brought before the House of Representatives, it received the passage like a flash of light, and the executive is currently attending to it. So I'm glad to announce that to you, and we are equally following it up. So we don't joke with our senior citizens. As we talk about the youth, the women, of course, under the leadership of our presiding officers, thank God, the deputy is here. So then again, for the funding from our youth, on the youth part, the investment, I want to draw your attention to what Mark of Industry is doing in this country. I'm talking to you, sir. My Oga in glasses. Oga youth. So it would be ideal if you can explore that open opportunity there for all the members under you. It's been a great one, and they are doing wonderfully well. Every night you see them showing their scorecards, the KPIs, the key performance and indicators are those that have been able to assess. And of course, it was established by the Act of the Parliament. And we have a committee, even we were citing them, which is the Committee on Industry. So, in addition to that, if you see that there are some showstoppers that is not making you progress on what you want to use them to assist your members, approach that is why you are paying us. Approach any member of the Parliament and tell them to bring it up on the floor of the House. That is why we are serving you. And from Madam Dorothy on the alleged silence, I say alleged because the House has never kept quiet about sexual yes, assault, violence. That's why we even, there is even an agency that is dealing with that already. And even before we suspended plenary, I'm quite sure that there were two motions and a bill still under consideration on these. So we never kept quiet. How can we keep quiet? We have all of us, we have daughters, and we are so concerned and passionate about what happens, empathy. Whatever happens to one out there, we feel it as if it is happening to us. But if there are areas you think we can improve upon, the House is the house of the people. You can write to our speaker, write to the deputy speaker, even through any member. Even if you have any bill, it can be a private bill, just come through any member that you are familiar with. Or you can even write directly to the House. They will attend to it. So for what you have seen, there are areas we can improve. If you feel there are some gaps to be filled, we'll definitely improve and see how we're going to fill those gaps. So, and the CSOs, the advocacy you're looking for, and the increase on budgetary allocation for education, health, I'm sure we're all listening, and of course there are areas we can still improve upon. But as far as the House is concerned, it's not just what the executive normally brings that then we just sign and say take it back. No, it always goes through proper scrutiny. So we require your input. Budget is a public document, and that is why we even have freedom of information. You can approach the agencies that are, in fact, we have made it compulsory because it's a provision of the law that each agency in this country must have a dedicated office to be releasing the information about their activities, including and not limited to budgetary allocation, expenditure, and etc. So appropriation, if we pass a bill, that's the appropriation bill into law, it has become a public document. So you have the right to take ownership. So not to say how open is the House of Representatives, no, it's a public document that you must have access to. So thank you very much, the entire House, as we progress. I appreciate you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Gaza Jonathan Befi. I'm not a member of leadership, but a third-term member of the House of Representatives. I came first in the 8th Assembly. I would want to address two things, but it's not surprising. I love women. So addressing the issue of women first and foremost will be what I would want to do. But of course, I only have one wife, just to put it in context. But
you have not tried that.
we all will not be here if not for women. So we must love and appreciate our mothers, our sisters, and our daughters. But having said that, I can assure you that under the leadership of our Deputy Speaker, who happens to be the chairman of the House Committee on Constitutional Amendments, he's taking a different perspective to constitutional amendment. This is about the first time whereby a timetable has been set out to see how to of constitutional amendments, so that as much as possible can be captured within one legislative assembly. And one of the bills that has been on the front burner of the Constitution Amendment Committee, which I happen to be a member of, and that's why I can speak from a point of authority, is that to do with women's representation. And to tell you how far he has even gone, or the committee has gone, study tours whereby we can have exchange of ideas and how other climes have done it, like Kenya, things that have actually been put in the works. And by God's special grace, I believe we're actually on the right trajectory. I would be the happiest person to see that we have our women having their pride of place within the legislative and political cycle. And I can assure you that the 10th Assembly is definitely working very, very hard at seeing that happen. I can see men are not smiling, but women are actually smiling. Having said that, with regards to the stage it has reached, it has gone through first, second reading. It has been committed to the committee, on constitutional amendment. We have a timetable that has whereby it's now going to zonal level for further engagements. From zonal levels, it will come back. But strongly, I would want to advise our women. It does not just stop at the legislature. For making bills is actually a joint task, whereby the populists actually have work to do, and so do we. Cast our mind back to the not too young to run bill. A lot of advocacy was done by the youths, and we got to make it happen. We're not saying our mothers should deny us food so that we must make sure that bill passes. But the women equally have a lot of work to do. And so do we men that actually believe in the fact that women have a lot to offer. So please, the buck does not stop at our table as legislators, but we expect you people to actually go out there and do the advocacy, especially when it gets to the point of when it's committed to the states. You have to go back to your various states. You have to make sure the state assemblies actually concur and pass it so that it gets the required proportion it needs to be able to pass, to be considered, and then accepted to and goes into law. The second thing I'd want to comment on, which 2 or 3 questions actually fit into one, is the case of reciprocity between the House and the Senate. First and foremost, you have to understand that the House is an independent body from the Senate. One National Assembly, but we have 2 independent bodies. But we have a very strong sense of synergy. Now, just as my leader equally said, most of the time there's that respect. And the lady that asked the question actually answered it. When one house passes, it's just natural that the other, out of respect, and of course you must have done your research, the other house that passes it, or reciprocity, so that it's forgive me, so that there is the synergy. The gesture is reciprocated so that the other house equally passes it. However, don't forget that you have 2 independent houses, people elected by 2 different sets of people from various parts of the country, and politics is about interest. So we cannot force them to pass it. However, as much as possible, same thing, through advocacy, we can put the necessary pressure. And that's why I say lawmaking is not just the responsibility of the legislatures, but equally we expect that there should be some level of cooperation and sensitization from the general public. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, members of National Assembly, the House of Representatives. I'm actually not a member of leadership in the 10th House of Representatives, but I just want to address one question that came up, which is the issue of removal of subsidy from gasoline. You know, for us as a country, if we have to make progress, we have to be honest to ourselves. It's all subsidy. So, let's start with the removal of subsidy from petrol. How sustainable will it be for a country to be spending about 4 trillion naira every year just to ensure that the price of petrol is kept at a level that we know that will continue to be injurious to the economy? What has happened now is that the money that was saved from subsidy, especially from gasoline, is now being given to the states. Some states are now getting almost 100% of what they were getting before. So the challenge we have, and the whole idea was money goes to the state and money should go to the local government where the people are. So, but what is happening now is that The local government system is not working the way it ought to work. Say, for example, in my local government, we receive about 370 million naira every month. If we have that money in the local government, that will help to a large extent to alleviate the sufferings of the people. So it is up to us here, especially the civil society group, for us to ask questions. Why is it that the local government system is not working the way it is meant to work? Thank you.
Thank you, leader. I think there was a question as to issue of oil theft and what the House of Reps is doing about it. We all know it's a very critical sector, and both the Parliament and the Executive attaches critical importance to it. As 10th House of Representatives under the leadership of Right Honorable Dr. Tajuddin Abbas, from the beginning of the Assembly, a committee was set up, and that committee is taking up that investigation in all stratas of oil thefts, including losses that are being experienced in the sector. And that committee is still work in progress. They have not submitted a report. And once a report is submitted, I'm sure that Parliament will do the needful. And so the 10th Assembly, led by the Speaker, ably represented by the Deputy, is following up that investigation that is going on. Then somebody asked about how many members interact and hold public hearings in their constituencies. I think there is no member who will be comfortable sitting in Abuja and not interacting with his people and expects that he's going to return to the House of Representatives. The voters are the people at their constituencies. And so you can see members of the 10th Assembly going to their constituencies almost every weekend. As Nigerians, you can imagine the cost of going to your constituencies almost every weekend. The only one who can stay out, if there is any such, is somebody who is not a politician. And so, most of the members, I can authoritatively say, are constantly in touch, interaction, attending to activities, functions concerning constituents, local governments that they represent. Let me also tell you that by dint of the empowerment that we give to our constituencies, you don't stay in Abuja and throw empowerment at the people. If you are doing empowerment, you must have training programs. You must select people from the various wards, from the various local governments, and then you do empowerment. After the empowerment, whatever the constituents do with it is beyond your capacity to control. And that is an aspect, as our constituents, you need to also speak to our people. You find a situation where you are empowered, and between where you are empowered and stepping out of the venue, someone else is buying it off your constituent. And how much money would you be selling it for? And how long will you survive with that money? You don't expect a member to go and beat those people for doing what they are not expected to do. Again, you can see that from the 10th Assembly, you see members going to commission their zonal intervention constituency projects, which means that they are giving back to their people. And Mr. Speaker is very serious about it because he supports, the presiding officer supports members in ensuring that there's a give back to our constituents. And of course, we do that. Then as to terms of increased budget for education, health, and agric that my brother Dr. Tive raised, the truth of the matter is that you can only spend what you have. The parliament can only appropriate what is available. The parliament sometimes even takes further steps to ensure that they liaise with the executive to rake out more money to put in some of these sectors because of the importance of these sectors. But I can assure you that parliament cannot just sit down and say, let's give 100 trillion to a sector. If you don't have the revenue to match it, then there's no point making such a law. And any budget you pass becomes an act of the National Assembly. It becomes a law. And so if you are passing a law that you may punish an offender without providing the ingredients, then you are, of course, not helping your nation. And so, of course, the National Assembly gives priority to some of these sectors and ensure that the needful is being done. Thank you for the opportunity, sirs.
Honorable Chinda.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me try to be more specific on the question by our brother Otive. You asked concerning health, education, and agric, why we don't have an increased budget. The answer is clear. 2025 budget for those three sectors, which are very important sectors, is far, far better than 2024. The records are there, you can refer. 2024, we had a provision of 1.5 trillion for education. 2025 came with 3.4 trillion. And now for health, 2024 had 2.3 trillion. And 2025 came with 2.48 trillion, which is about 5.18% of the budget. So there is an increased budget for these sectors. But of course, you know that, like my colleague rightly said, this increment will also be hinged on what you have as the total budget of the country. And you have heard that we have consistently said that in our country today, the quantum of the budget that we have, it's not enough considering both land mass, population, and what we require to do in the country. But you cut your coat according to the cloth you have. Even with that, we still have budget deficit. So we need to work harder, even as parliamentarians, to see how we can up the income that comes to our country. That is to continue to look at diversifying from mono economy to multi-economy, but there is an increase. The other issue of interest is the one raised by Dorothy, our sister, concerning the question of two-thirds majority vote and how that is measured by voice vote. To be specific, I'm sure she's talking about the issue of state of emergency. Now in Parliament, we have speakers of houses of assembly here. You have process and procedure. The first is that you must form a quorum. And that's why that day you had some members raise issues of point of order that there is no quorum. So we normally use the register of attendance. That is what the procedure allows. So from the register, once you form a quorum, you can take further step. And on that day, you clearly heard the speaker announce the number of members that were present on the floor of the House. He made that announcement 3 times to be sure that we have achieved the required 2/3 to commence proceeding on that day. And the provision of our rules, our House rules provides that for everything, every decision of the House, it will be by vote. The first step is voice vote. If you say you require 2/3 and you have achieved the 2/3 in place, and you put the vote and not one person dissented, what is the implication? The implication is everybody is in support. If you were against it, you would say nay. And if anybody, one voice, had said nay, we would have divided the House. That is the next step, according to the House rules. We would have divided the House to do either head count or to ask that those in support should go to the left and those against to the right, and then it will be counted. When no dissenting voice, the assumption is that everybody who was in attendance is in support. So you don't need the rigors of going to the second step. And in parliamentary practice, both internationally, there are assumptions that every act of parliament is done properly, except otherwise. So this issue that has been coming up, we think that we should also let Nigerians know there is no deliberate intention to subvert the two-third. If the proper thing had been done, if any other person had said, nay, just one, then we would have done head count. But if you have your attendance in place and you put the question and there is no dissenting voice, even to you, the assumption is that everybody is in support. So I felt that I should also take care of this aspect of the issue that came up now. And on the issue of cybercrime, the general feeling is that the Cybercrime Act is intended to deny citizens of their right to freedom of speech. I will pray that we take our time to read that law. Let us not criticize without studying some of these laws. You and I know that so many persons are also complaining of what has been happening to them, either social media and all that. And there is no way to hold these persons responsible, even if you have a right under our laws. And Cybercrime Act is not peculiar to Nigeria. As we speak, over 177 countries have their Cybercrime Act. Even internationally, there are treaties that are crafted for countries to go into in order to check these issues, because crime is becoming, in fact, not the normal way we used to know it when we were growing up. In those days, armed robbers will even write letters to some premises that we are coming so day. Today, people sit down in their homes and commit humongous crimes that can affect and shake a nation. And so if you don't have Cybercrime Act in place, you are running a big risk as a country. And so every country is working towards that. And let me say that laws have provision for amendment. If there are laws that citizens are not very comfortable with, you have your members of parliament. If there are sections in those laws, draw their attention to those sections. They will bring it back to parliament for amendment. But it will not be right to sit down and condemn a law holistically without going through it. There are very good aspects of the Cybercrime Act. So, but the areas that we quarrel with, we pray that the non-governmental organizations should pick out those sections and have time to come forward and discuss them with us. We can assure you that they will be looked into. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, a round of applause for him, please, and for the leadership. Okay, at this juncture, we're going to take two very brief comments. One from the Ministry of Finance. The minister is ably represented by Madam Dorcas Oyedepo, and she'll be responding to some of the questions. And thereafter, we'll take a 1-minute comment as well from the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. Immediately after that, we'll take the last set of questions and we'll bring this session to a close. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols duly observed. My name is Mrs. Oyedepo Dorcas, Deputy Director Deputy Director of Library Services in the Ministry of Finance. Greetings from our father, let me call him father, our able, honorable Minister of Finance, Wale Edun. Well, I am a librarian by profession. I may not really be able to answer all these questions that are being raised, but I think I can add a better opinion to how we can fix things in this country. Yes, as a librarian, I have noticed that library institution has not been so welcomed in Nigeria. We look at library with disdain. It's the last to come. we don't know the importance of library in Nigeria. But if we study the people abroad, the government abroad, maybe the reason why we feel they are ahead of us is because they read. I want to quickly appreciate the 10th House for all they have done, for the impact so far. I'm impressed by all the achievements they have made in the past 2 years. Yes, but we can do better. All these challenges that our people are raising here for observation and for solution could be better done if we are good readers. If we can take time to read. In fact, reading is life in itself. There will be so many problems solved that we don't even think could be solved. So, as a representative of Honorable Minister of Finance, I would just suggest to the leadership of the 10th House and the people here that we should just try to put in more effort in our reading habits. Yes, it will help in solving so many problems, even personally, even in your marriage, in everything. Yeah, readers are richer. Readers are richer in everything. So just try that and you will see that God is good.
Thank you, Madam. And just again, 1 minute from the Nigerian.
All right, thank you so much, Chimdi. Right Honorable Speaker, and of course, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker here, distinguished leaders of the House. I want to bring to you greetings from the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. My president would have been here. He was here last December, but at the moment, our African Public Relations Association is meeting in Mombasa, so it's there. Well, first, the Institute is very happy with the responsive nature of the House. We are excited because as the sole regulator for public relations practice in the country, public engagement is an area where we are expected to strengthen capacity of institutions to do that. And I'm happy that this current, the 10th House of Representatives has been very responsive in that regard. Your chairman of committee is a member of the Institute, and just a few months back, in response to some of the initiatives we've seen from the House, prioritizing public engagement, we inducted the Right Honorable Speaker as an honorary fellow of the Institute. And by doing that, we promised that we will take interest in ensuring that we support the House to be more effective in this regard. We're particularly happy that you have decided to expand this consultative nation to have also zonal engagements. We only want to advise that we try to document the proceedings and possibly grant access to them, because that is one way posterity will remember us, but most importantly, it gives us opportunity to really measure whether or not we are effective in this public engagement or not. One major area that has driven these 5 initiatives we want to propose to you with respect to what we can do to strengthen what you're doing is because we also want to improve. You have increased the number of bills that are introduced, but there's a very wide gap between those that are passed, those that have become law. At the moment, we're operating below 10%, which is normal. Of course, you cannot have the same number across legislatures globally. But we're thinking that when you implement some of this, we can move to beyond 10%. We have legislatures that have been able to attain up to 50% in terms of balance between number of laws introduced and those that have eventually become law. So one of the areas, of course, is to strengthen what you're doing in the area of public engagement. You know, that you have an SA who is also a member of the Institute managing this company, and that's Barrister Chimdi is also quite one of the areas where we think In this case, we would want to provide for you more workshops that can strengthen capacity of members, capacity of also of your aides, to ensure that in terms of organizing events, public engagement events like this, that you maximize the benefit. The second area is we know that your aides are also part of those that make you effective or otherwise. And we believe that a lot of them need to be trained in the area of strategic communication. So again, the Institute is happy to provide bespoke training in this area, particularly for your aides here in the National Assembly and those who are manning your constituency offices. Of course, we have infrastructure to see that we can also deliver some of this training virtually, especially where there are difficulties in assembling them in one place. And I know that that is effective because between 2003 and 2007, I was here as a senior legislative aide, and I coordinated the training of aides, and I know the impact we had at that time. The other one is in the area of seeing that we put in place, working with you, a reputation management framework for the House. This will require effectively ensuring that I'm told we are pressed for time, but there are 5 major areas that we are happy to engage with you. Yeah, I've just been asked to hand in, but just to say that we're happy to engage with you further. We will be doing our job as regulator in that regard. So we're not looking for business, but we'll be happy to engage in that area and see that we put in place a framework that will assist you to do better. And most of it will be to have a legislative communication support desk that you can rely upon, and you can also get support from us without really having to go through long processes. When we have working teams watching out and ensuring that you get the right measurement of what you're doing and get the right inputs from experts across our 36 states. Basically, I think these are the areas we'll be happy to discuss further with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Vice President of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. Now we go to the last set of questions, and we will take one representing the persons with disabilities, and we will take just one other one from the South-South, and that's because it was brought to our attention that the person who spoke from the South-South zone did not, in fact, come from the recommended or the seconded invited guests, and so he did not, in fact, convey the questions that the region had. So we'll take just those two, and then we'll hand over to the leadership to respond, and then we'll have the closing remarks. Thank you very much for understanding and bearing with us. There will still be further opportunities for more interactions. No, it's fine. You can just slip at the mic. Slip at the mic.
Somebody's going to interpret.
You can come with you. Yes, the interpreter. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Again, good afternoon to the powerful House of Representatives here seated. Thank you for the job well done. But I have just 3 questions. So the first one is, in 2018, we passed a law, that is a disability law, which gives the right to all persons with disability in Nigeria. So since 2018, the grace period has passed, and we know that there is power in law. So there are so many challenges in the disability community, and then the law stipulated that there should be a 5% implementation, for example, in all government parastatals, in terms of employment and all that. So hope the House of Representatives is keeping to that, because we want to ask you a question. Do you Do you have 5% employment of persons with disability in this House of Representatives? Do we have persons with disability who are employed here? Have you implemented the 5%? And also, I was coming this morning and I noticed that the House of Representatives, the entrance is not accessible at all. There is no ramp there. So we also had one of our person with disability lawyer. She shared her experience, Barrister Florence, of how she could not access the House of Rep because they had to carry her, into the house. So, and other buildings too, are they accessible? So the second is, sadly, I wanted to address this question to the Minister of Agriculture, but unfortunately he left. So we heard that farmers are giving fertilizers and that sometime in this month, they'll also be giving 2,000 tractors. I want to ask if this initiative captures persons with disability, because we have persons with disability who are farmers too. So lastly, so we want to appeal that this is a powerhouse, this is the house of the people, and we want you to implement these laws so that other ministries and parastatals will follow suit, will emulate you, in implementing what is provided in the disability law. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Priscilla Osiobaifo. I'm representing Edo State and covering South. I'm here from rural Edo State. I'm specifying because most time when opportunities like this come, they always select from the headquarters. So I commend the National Assembly for also considering constituent members that are not in the headquarters. Our first concern is the deplorable state of our roads, connecting all the states in the South, from Edo to Delta to Rivers. The entire of that region, especially in this rainy season, is worse. In Edo, Ibilo Igara Sasaro Road, that road has been a den to kidnappers. When you check the insecurity in that place, you see it clearly. Another den is Ewu Agbo Road. It's become a big challenge for us. The second issue is the worsening incident of the rape of our women and children, as well as femicide, not just in Edo State, but in Nigeria. What is femicide? The killing of women, especially young women. The claim is for ritualistic purpose, but murder is murder. A lot of our young women are being murdered in their home, in offices, in hotels, and they just excuse those deaths. We need them stopped. The pathetic state of healthcare, especially for us in the rural communities. There are some local governments at the PAC level, they have only one doctor, which is the director PAC. Because he does administrative work, he finds it difficult to meet up with his clinical responsibilities to those LGA. And this flight of doctors is across the whole country, but it's getting worse, and our health situation is becoming critical. The last one is unemployment and the dilemma of indecent job. We do a lot of palliative for youth. Today they are donating Okada, tomorrow you are donating Keke Napep. But how sustainable? One of you just mentioned that they end up even selling those items, and then we are back to the same quagmire. So we're asking, beyond those periodic palliative, are there things that are institutional that will address it? It's unfortunate that yesterday the trendy issue was wheelbarrow pushing by graduates in Nigeria. Wheelbarrow pushing graduates in Nigeria. The situation is that bad right now. So I would really appreciate if you can help me answer this. And to finally ask if there's a connection or linkage between the House of Rep and the House of Assembly. I'm asking because we practice a federal system. So sometimes you see that most of the capacity building support is at the federal level. We want to see that replicated also at the state level so that we'll be better represented at the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now we'll just come back to the leadership and other members of the House to respond, and then we'll draw this, bring this to a close. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will take one or two from the last speaker. because she's from my state, and I suspect from my senatorial district. First is that we recognize that the administration before this one did not give a damn about roads. They didn't do much. We wrote letters, wrote petitions, sent pictures, didn't even get a reply. But now, the current president and minister, if you watch television and you see the massive road projects that have been backed upon, you can put it against all that has been done since 1960 and you will still be on the right mark. So there is the will, there is the commitment, and the resources are being put there. But also note, there are state roads. Federal government cannot come and fix state roads. State can fix federal roads and get refunded based on understanding and agreement. So I think that process is on. I know that even the repairs on road in Igara recently, which was refurbished by the current Minister of Works. So the process is on. The second question quickly is the question of rape, femicide, and other criminal activities. Well, thank God, Edo has come out of darkness. You have a governor now who doesn't look at anybody's face. Anybody involved, no matter who you are, you'll be dealt with, including your property used for that. And it's demonstrated that right now there is an ongoing one between him and a member of the House of Reps. The man was not there, but his facility was alleged to have been used for a court meeting, and that house is being marked for demolition. They are going to court or whatever. But you see a governor, doesn't talk much, no fanfare, but is doing the work. Healthcare, again, between federal and state. Primary healthcare centers are in bad state. And I know there is a new policy to revamp all of them and even construct some new ones. And hopefully they will be patronized by local people. For members of the House of Reps, in our various constituency projects, we are constantly revamping healthcare facilities, buying ambulances, supplying drugs, and providing resources for training nurses and teachers. At least I do this in my constituency, and you can go and verify. Unemployment, again, is a national issue. We've cried and cried. Let states begin to look at TVET. It is the way to go. Even developed countries are looking at technical vocational training, education. That is where it is. People learn skills, and along the way, they even earn more than those who carry their certificates who earn 54,000 a month. Some states are responding to this robustly. Some are not, pretending that it is of no use. But that is the way to go. So you don't graduate thousands every year into unemployment. You have a degree in philosophy. The banks have shown clearly, irrespective of your degree, they restrain you and make you useful to the bank because they need particular skills. And the world is changing very rapidly. If we don't change with it, unemployment like this will continue. Government cannot be the sole employer. Go to any ministry like in Abuja here, you see people sitting down 4 to a table doing nothing because people bring people and leave them there. The private sector needs to be encouraged. The Bank, National Bank for Development, the Nigerian Bank for Development, Bank of Industry, that somebody mentioned. Again, we need to take advantage of this. I know that they've not been properly democratized. The conditions they give, you may as well run it on your own. But again, this is our job as legislators to see if we can simplify the processes. It's easy for a government to get a loan from some banks than a genuine business person. So I can assure you that is going to. Finally, is House of Reps and House of Assembly connected? It depends on a lot of things. My House of Assembly member and I, we talk every day. We talk about projects we are doing, and we show that we are collaborating. Even when he was still in another party. Now that he has come to my party, it's even easier for me. So it depends on the legislator. There's no law that says we must connect. They are independent from us, but we can collaborate. It makes the job easier. It makes project citing easier. It avoids avoidance of duplication. And I think a constitutional review now, for example, chaired by the Deputy Speaker, we are carrying them along from the beginning. We are holding meetings together. We are even visiting their states to participate in meetings of state speakers so that we will know from the beginning what they are discussing, what we are discussing, be on the same level on the issue, so that when we finish and send to them, they will not throw it out that we are unaware of what you are doing. I hope that answers some of the issues.
Thank you very much, sir. Just
Let me just join the leader because I think the last from the South-South zone and giving a very strong point to the presiding officers of this 10th Assembly. The Speaker ensured that caucuses, for one very first time, insisted that very strong caucuses be established and leaders of the caucuses were elected across the 6 geopolitical zones. And what that meant is that other than being in the floor, legislating, we also take further responsibilities of carrying the concerns of our people to the executive arm of government. Take, for example, your South-South zone had gone to visit a number of ministers, talking to them, including the roads of the South-South, and we're interacting to ensure that more succor is brought to the people of the South-South. And other zones are also doing the same thing. That is because the leadership Mr. Speaker and his deputy gave to us is to further charge us to ensure that we are doing a lot more for our people rather than just only legislating in the floor of the chambers. I thought that I should add this bit. Thank you.
thank you very much, sir. We are expecting a visual to go on the screen. Okay.
Concerning persons with disability. First, to assure that the House is aware that the grace period has come to an end and the House is proactive. The House has set up a committee to commence implementation of that law. And I will also say that I'm the chairman of that committee. That committee was set amongst leadership with the chairman of the House Committee on Persons with Disability as a member. We have gone around the House of Reps. We've looked at all the entry points. We have mapped out what it takes. We're even proposing a lift that will take you to the second floor where we have access to the White House. So we have commenced implementation of that law. I just want to assure our sister, both the toilets, even access within the chambers and all that. We saw the difficulty and we marked all that out. On the aspect of the staff, the recruitment, we have already proposed that a memo should be sent to the management. We are members. You have the management of the National Assembly that is in charge of recruitment, asking that they commence compliance with that law. So I'm happy that you raised the issue here, and I am seated here to give you that reply. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. With that, we come to the end of this very interesting and robust interactive session. We want to say that this is not the last. It is one of several others to come. We mentioned earlier that there will be a zonal one this month in Kaduna on the 26th. There will also be another one in Lagos for the southern region in July. And apart from that, there will be the open week of the National Assembly, particularly the House, first week of July. So there will be several opportunities for us to engage further. I just want to also apologize to the online audience. We got several questions online, but we saw that most of the questions had already been taken by the physical audience. So that's why we're not able to take some of them. With that, I would like to thank you for participating, and very quickly would like to move to the next item on the agenda, which is the closing comment. This will be taken by the Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, GCON, who is ably represented by the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Benjamin Okeze Kalu, CON. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him a round of applause as he comes to take the closing remarks.
Thank you very much. The leader of the House, my own brother, Professor Yombere, the minority leader of the House, and other leaders here present, our invited guests. Let me start by saying thanks a lot for being interested in the Nigerian project, because we didn't pay you to be here. You came because you're patriotic. You came because you love Nigeria. And you came because you are concerned that you want Nigeria to be better than it is. And you came because you believe that this house is the people's house and it belongs to you. So welcome to your house. And today we've been able to listen to you, had a lot of things, got some questions from online. Some of them will just, I'll scan through again for your take home, and then I gave you the remark from Mr. Speaker. There are some questions that came about the judiciary, what we're doing to improve justice in Nigeria. I just want to give you the key points that you can take home, that we have improved on the judicial officers' salaries and allowances, and that came through a bill in 2024. In fact, I was one of the Supreme Court justices yesterday, and it was full of praises that the Parliament has taken a step towards that direction. On economy, there are a few bills that I want you to look at your own leisure. I want you to study them. On the economy finance bill, go and look at it of 2024. The Nigerian Tax Administration Bill 2024, find a summary and look at it. Look at Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Bill 2024, Nigerian Joint Revenue Board of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2024, Nigerian Tax Bill 2024, and then the Minimum Wage Amendment Bill, which we help the President to assure that we get more for our people who are working for us. And then on agriculture, 10 related bills, agriculture-related bills are out there. And security, the key point there is the cybercrime. Somebody spoke about the oversight, and the question came online also on what we're doing about legislative oversight, that we're not doing enough. One of the gentlemen who said he worked with the Parliament before is that one of our weaknesses that we're not doing our oversight is poor. But there is an improvement from what it used to be. We are not yet there, any of all this. If we are there, we won't be inviting you. We invited you because we want you to establish those gaps that we have, and then we'll find a way to complete them. So on legislative oversight, we have done about 217 oversights, which have been conducted. 84 of them were investigative hearing, and 32 ministries, department, agencies were investigated, and 29 comprehensive oversight results report has been produced as we speak. Taking, for example, safety and standard regulation did their oversight function, inspected 18 sites in Abuja and Lagos. And we can go on, and they've noticed some gaps that need to be filled, like findings review widespread non-compliance with safety standard, and also that of ISPON Act 2024. So this is the result of the oversight function that we have carried out. On the national security safety focus, like I've mentioned to you, that we are interested in the cybercrime, and you should read it like the leader said, to be able to know more about that. And we are not leaving our security hanging. We have been able to put in one of the largest funds since we started as a nation. 5.30 trillion was allocated in this 2025 budget to defense. And we have had a couple of workshops, 2-day workshop, to produce fresh security reform proposals, as well as another one that is coming on by the Committee on Constitutional Review, which is holding on the 16th. Few days from now, we're expecting the president to be there. All the heads of security agencies in the country have also shown their interest to be there for us to discuss on legislative dialogue on Nigeria's security architecture, which is led by the committee. And under security also, there are a few laws I want you to look at, which we have worked on
and that will help you to understand the steps we are taking. The Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons Bill 2023, which aims to curb the proliferation of illegal arms. Look at that. Look at Armed Forces Act Amendment Bill 2023, which seeks to improve the professional standard of the military. Look at that. Look at the cyber crime bill that we just mentioned severally here. Let me also mention that on job creation and economy, a gentleman mentioned that the young ones need to be able to, raise funds, participate in the economy of the country. It is important to note that stabilizing the economy is, one of the things we have put on our front burner, though we are not executive. We'll try to look at the policies of the executive, try to put legislative framework that will help them achieve their purpose. And that is why for economic growth and development, we have had about 144 motions, which is about 13.1% of all the motions before the House, which means that we are interested in that sector. The tax reform is also channeled towards that. That's why we are doing that. Let us also look at education. I had somebody mention something about prioritizing education, health, and agriculture, and the minority leader tried to address that. Let me also mention that in the 2025 budget, that this had gotten the attention of the legislature to the extent that we included 3.52 trillion naira as the budget for the Ministry of Education, which is the highest. That's never happened before. That to show you there's no reason for any child, to be selling the eggs in her womb to go to school. When we have NEL fund, there is NEL fund. NEL fund is there. The loan is there. It's one of the initiatives that we brought. So, which is Nigeria Education Loan Fund. So people should be educated to know some of the things that are happening there so that they can benefit from it. Lack of this education and information is making it difficult for most people to enjoy what the government has put together for our nation. On gender violence, I had my sister who said she was a victim of gender violence and also working in that space at the moment. And I commend your work that you are doing. But the parliament is also with you there. We, as you know, women development and ending gender violence, the GBV, there are key priorities for this 10th House. And we passed the 2023 bill mandating education on breast and cervical cancer in senior secondary school. It's one of the initiatives of this House, that in secondary school that this should be there. And also we mandated inclusion of preventive teachings on sexual and gender-based violence, the SGBV, in all secondary school curricula. I'm sure many people are not aware of this, but this is what the parliament has also attended to. And we're also looking at laws that aim to raise awareness and educate students on those their rights. We have also participated in the 16 days of activism that just finished. The parliament participated fully, the speaker, myself, we went on road walk, we did all of them there, they participated to make sure that we achieve this. And I think I want to stop there. So those are some of the take home because of time that you go. And on the issue of town hall, let me mention this. We are bringing a new innovation, which is called e-town hall. E-town hall is that even if you're not able to go home every week or every month to engage with your people, you can be in the comfort of your office and engage with your people in your various locations. I have tried that before, and through the Princeton University in the US, who partnered with me and the agency that is owned by Ngozo Konji-Iweala, and it worked perfectly well. So I was sitting in my office and I was addressing thousands of constituents who were scattered both locally and globally. So we are introducing that to make sure that on engagement, which is the bedrock of democracy, that we increase the tempo from what it is to what it ought to be. I bring you greetings from the Speaker of the House of Representatives, who arrived this morning from a very important trip and is not able to make it. I would have been here earlier, but I also was representing him before a program that the president attended. He has asked me on his behalf to welcome you and also to give you what he feels about what has taken place today. So the wordings are his, the voice is only mine. So this is what the speaker had to say. As we bring this citizens roundtable to a close, I wish to express my profound appreciation to every participant who join us in this important national conversation. Your presence today has reaffirmed the simple but powerful truth. Democracy is strongest when the people are not only heard, but fully involved. This has been a day of dialogue, reflection, and mutual learning. We came together with a shared purpose to listen to one another, to reflect on how far we have come, and to chart a more inclusive and responsive path forward. I am truly encouraged by the richness of the exchanges, the clarity of the perspectives offered, and the passion with which you have spoken about the future of our dear country. This event is not a conclusion. It is a part of an ongoing process of building a parliament that works with the people and not just for them. As Speaker of the House of Representatives, I'm more convinced than ever that the strength of our legislative work depends on the depth of our engagement with citizens. That is why we place citizens' participation at the heart of the legislative agenda of the 10th House. That is why we have committed ourselves to regular platforms like this one, to listen, to learn, and to act. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe that laws must reflect the values and realities of the people they are meant to serve. We believe that governance must be transparent, inclusive, and accountable. And above all, we believe that the people must remain at the center of our democratic process. To our development partners, especially the Ford Foundation and Global Right, I extend a sincere appreciation of the House for your generous support and unwavering commitment to democratic development in Nigeria. You have helped make this roundtable possible and meaningful. To our distinguished former presiding officers, your presence here today is deeply appreciated. You remind us of the legacy, continuity of parliamentary service, and we thank you for your enduring contributions to the strengthening of our institutions. To the honorable ministers, civil society leaders, media representatives, and other stakeholders, thank you for making time to be part of this national conversation. Your contributions have enriched our deliberations and inspired a renewed commitment to people-focused governance. Most importantly, to you, the citizens of Nigeria, I say thank you. Thank you for speaking. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for reminding us of the dignity of public service and the responsibility we all share in advancing our democracy. Let us not stop here. Let us carry this spirit of dialogue beyond the walls of this chamber. Let us remain engaged. Let us remain active. Let us remain determined to shape the future of our democracy with courage and purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, the House of Representatives remains your house. Its doors are open, its ears are open, and its work will continue to reflect the will and wisdom of the people. Before I conclude, there will be a post on the screen that will show you the roadmap to the constitution review I had when someone asked the question about the progression of the gender bills as well as other constitutional amendment bills. You will see it as we round up where we are now, what is the next step, where the next step will take place, as well as the date. I think they will zoom it later on. You'll see that will show you our timetable till December. Till the time we start voting on the bill is already produced there. Get a copy if you can so that you can follow through. Thank you once again for coming. May God bless you and bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
ladies and gentlemen, I think we can do better than that. Let's appreciate the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Benjamin Okezie-Kalu, CON, representing the Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, GCON. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been an amazing and interactive session. We just want to make a quick announcement that lunch is served. There's item 7, as we popularly call it, and it will be at the cafeteria just right outside the hall. For the leadership and the VIPs, there will be lunch served in the holding room, please. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I thank the leadership and the members of the House for the opportunity to have moderated this session. I thank you all for being an amazing audience. And at this juncture, I would like to, I'm going to call my dear brother, Mr. Andy Gabriel, Master of Ceremony par excellence, to take us away. Thank you.
Please put your hands together for her. Thank you very much. And of course, just before we bring it to formal close, I must mention that the representative of the EFCC chairman has been with us all day, and we need to mention him and also applaud him. The representative of the EFCC chairman, and gentlemen,
So if we can guarantee until we are
Come.